This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday night, and welcome to the Break the Bell Podcast live.
Hello, beautiful bell breakers.
It's a special occasion going on right now.
Yes.
The World Cup is happening. I know.
Yes, it's like the biggest sporting event in the world.
That's what I'm told. That's what I read. I was like, World Cup, the largest sporting event in the world. I'm like, really, over the Olympics?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's because we're here in America,
And that's it. Yeah. So like, I have a friend that lives in Brazil, and she posted like pictures of her friends and family all getting together, having a big party. There's a parades
for the World Cup.
Yes.
For soccer.
Yes.
Soccer is like,
Yeah.
Like, first of all, we Americans, we're the only ones that call it soccer. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I believe so.
Like everywhere else is football.
Yes.
Now I've made it a point on this show to point out that I don't give two shits really about football, American football.
Yes.
How much less do you think I care about the rest of the world's football? And how did America come up with soccer? Where they're like, well, football's already taken, so what? Well, we play with our feet. Feet ball. No, we play in our socks. What about soccer?
Yeah, right.
You're like, soccer, that's great. I like it.
You know what? The sock thing doesn't work so much.
Well, first they were like shoe ball.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, shoe ball? That just sounds dumb.
sounds
What about
dumb.
sock ball?
Yes.
Soccer. There you go.
Yeah.
It sounds French. I don't know. We're kind of retarded here in the United States.
We are.
Like,
We're rather uncultured when it comes to soccer.
why do you think that is? Like,
I
mean, even hockey.
Yeah.
Hockey's primarily like Canadian and northern, like Nordic countries
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's not super American, but there's still a lot of Americans that really like their hockey, especially
Right.
up in like the northern
Oh,
states and stuff.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to soccer, it's just like, I mean, there's a lot of kids that play soccer. I don't know if it's
there's
because
a big soccer community.
why is it that there's so many kids that play soccer and there's so many soccer moms, but there's so few people that actually watch
Right.
pro soccer?
That's a good
It's
question.
a really,
It is.
know out there, if you know why Americans hate soccer, besides the fact that the sport fucking sucks, let me know, because like soccer mom is just like an American term.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's just a fact.
They don't
that-
have football moms.
No.
They're. I think they're called like goon squads in England.
Something like that. I mean, there's baseball moms, but
Yeah.
primarily you hear like soccer vans, soccer
Yeah.
moms, all that stuff. It's an American thing. But
Yeah.
for some reason, once they get past the age of like 9 or 10, like Americans
Right.
are like, fuck your soccer. That's
Yeah.
super gay.
Right.
It's just like, what happened in America?
Occasionally, like you'll get friends that I have friends that they go super douchey and they like watch soccer because they think it makes them seem more cultured.
Does it though?
No. I actually had a friend who went up to a girl and tried to hit on her. She was talking about the Hawkeyes, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't really pay attention to soccer. It seems kind of dumb, or football. It seems kind of dumb. I'm more of a soccer person."
Now, the real douchebag is the person that's like, football. That's soccer in all the other countries. I mean, in other countries, this is not football.
Yeah.
Football is like having to explain to what football really is.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is not football,
Yeah.
you uncultured swine.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, we're going to be talking about, well, not actually soccer, the game. We're going to be talking about the World Cup, mostly everything besides
The actual
soccer. Yes.
Yes.
Because I've never seen so much drama that I've paid attention to
Yes,
surrounding a sports event, especially a soccer match.
Right. Yes.
It's like, I didn't give two shits about soccer to begin with, but now it's like all this stuff all over. It's like encompassing the news is soccer.
Yes, and I remember it's just a couple of years ago FIFA got in a lot of trouble.
Now, we gotta solve this once and for all. Is it FIFA or is it FIFA?
I don't know. I thought I heard somebody talking about like a PlayStation soccer game. I thought they called it FIFA, and I just kind of went with that. But it very well could be FIFA. Anybody know?
Google knows.
Okay, I am wrong.
Google says FIFA.
Yes.
FEEFUH.
My mongoloid American brain just was not able to accept that, I guess.
Well, most other countries don't pronounce the I as an I or an I. It's E, like Spanish. It's primarily like South American and Spaniards and stuff. So I would assume it would be FIFA because they pronounce the I as an E.
Well, that's probably why an American soccer player got in trouble with the Iranian press by calling it Iran.
No, he called it Iran, and they're like, you're talking about racism? It's actually Iran, you fuck.
You ignorant fuck.
Yes. How do you pronounce fuck in your language? No, we'll get into that interview too, because that I mean,
it's been crazy.
America is quick to point their fingers at all the stuff that's surrounding this, and then they get all pissy when the other countries are like, "What about you guys? What about what you got going?"
But
on?
I think every nation is really quick to point fingers at everybody else without taking on. I mean, Europe, especially France, is always one that's quick to point fingers at people without even looking at their own past of everything they've done.
France just sucks in general, so
it does. They're kind of the butt of like Western countries jokes.
It's true. So we're going to talk about the World Cup. We're going to talk about the controversy surrounding it. There's things from like Qatar, which is the country that is hosting it. Their bribery to get the bid for the World Cup this year. We're going to talk about all the human rights abuse issues with the armbands and stuff that's going around. FIFA's response to that. There's major atrocities, like one major human rights abuse that I really want to focus on here in a little bit. I don't want to spoil it because
Sure.
This is the one that hurts my heart the most, but we'll get into that. So be on the edge of your seats and listen for Craig's ultimate human rights abuse during the 2022 World Cup game, because I mean it's pretty serious.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean,
if it's got you.
I take this shit really personal, and I'm a straight white guy, so if I take it personal, it's bad.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. There's some allegations of human trafficking and all kinds of immigration stuff going on surrounding it. My question is, why did Qatar, of all countries, in the middle of the sand, get the bid for a soccer tournament? Do they even have grass in Qatar?
That's a good question, but
I'm sure that they play soccer in Qatar.
Oh yes, most
Really?
definitely. Oh yeah,
you think so?
Oh yeah,
All right.
but I'm sure they ponied up the money.
Oh, I'm sure. So we'll get into all that stuff. Before we do, we gotta mention our sponsors, our coffee fix of freedom. That is Run Your Mouth Coffee. I'm sure Run Your Mouth Coffee, being the all-American coffee company they are, they probably hate soccer just as much as we do.
I'm sure.
Because I mean, they're so American that they support two things: delicious coffee and free speech. And those two things scream America. And I mean, your constitutional rights are what separated us from Europe originally. So it also separated us. The Revolutionary War and the Constitution kept us from having soccer as our main sporting event here in the United States. So you can thank your founding fathers for that. You can thank the Constitution for your right to not watch soccer, and you can thank people like Run Your Mouth Coffee who support your constitutional rights to free speech and rights to call soccer super gay. Go to rymcoffee.com, drink delicious coffee. Tell them we sent you by using the promo code Break the Bell. That's all one word. You'll get 10% off your purchase plus free shipping, and that's a freaking awesome deal. And no soccer lovers really offer good discounts like that.
No, not at all.
And you don't have to wear pants either. We've come to decide. You can order fresh roasted coffee straight to your house without ever having to put on pants. Support companies that support free speech and support your rights, like Run Your Mouth Coffee, rymcoffee.com. Check us out all over the social medias because we are all over the social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I was going to say YouTube. We are on YouTube.
We are also now, but we weren't before.
But those three specifically, you can find us at our handle, Break the Bell Pods. Share it far and wide across the lands, so we can get this message of hope against soccer, the evil atrocities of soccer, and everything else we talk about, exposing bullshit for bullshit. We can reach more ears far and wide by spreading this message of hope. Share us on social media. That's all. That's really what it comes down to.
That's good.
You can find links to all our stuff, like our merch store, our Patreon account, and all our social media accounts at our website, which is breakthebellpod.com. You can have access to our merch store, which has awesome things like these shirts here, like the coveted "I Won't Eat Your Bug" shirt, the "We Are Not Your Pawn" shirt, some logo shirts, some "Is This Shirt Even Real" shirt in response to our "The Internet Is Dead" theory episode that we did a couple months ago. That's at breakthebellpod.com, or you can find that at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Check it out. Buy merch. Buy your friends and family Christmas presents, because they'll love you for it, and we'll love you for it. Social media, share us far and wide. That's
with
it.
Christmas around the corner, this is perfect to create those awkward conversations around the dinner table.
Do you know what else is awesome about Christmas being around the corner?
What's that, Craig?
Is the third annual Christmas extravaganza that will be airing on December 19th.
That will be awesome.
It is our yearly Christmas celebration where we invite the great Remzo Martinez from the On the Run podcast and the shitty Dan Smots of the System Is Down podcast to celebrate Christmas in true Break the Bell style. It's extravagant, hence the name Christmas extravaganza.
And we always get more extravagant
Yes, that word. We do get more and more of that word every single year. Last year we had a musical number from Dan Smots. We had a nice dramatized reading of a book called Hookers and Blow Save Christmas, as well as a bunch of other fun Christmas party fun. So don't miss it. December 19th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Which is on a Sunday.
No.
Yes, it is. The 19th is on a Sunday.
Well, whatever the Monday is before Christmas.
Okay, 20th. The 20th.
I think you're wrong.
I think I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Because we have a Christmas party on the 18th, which is Saturday.
December 19th is on a Monday, Bill.
It is?
Yeah, so you are highly wrong.
Yes, I am. I have to
I was going to have to go. I was going to have to go back. You have to reframe your schedule. You don't know the wheels I have in motion here that are all surrounding December 19th. So I'm glad that's on a Monday, because that will be the night that we do it. Monday, December 19th.
You on your toes.
Yes. We have confirmed it, just like I confirmed that FIFA is pronounced FIFA.
Yes.
Bill, once and for all,
I'm
is wrong.
0-2 tonight.
You are.
Wow.
Let's get into the show we can see how far behind you get on this. If this was a soccer match, you would be freaking the United States right now.
Right.
You'd be losing your ass. We're going to get into the show, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the drama that is the 2022 World Cup. We'll be right back.
Have you ever thought that maybe voting,
Wrong one.
What did you say?
You talking to me?
What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say? What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say?
Talk to me.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, baby.
What did you just say?
What did you say?
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Let's play football. World Cup. 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 It's time to play football.
Now, this song, my son has been tormenting me with
This is
with his
horrible.
TikTok.
Who wrote that song?
I'm not sure. I can't remember, so I'm not going to give him
Sounds like
credit.
something I would write.
Here.
Football, football, oh, football, football.
Is that Bismarcky?
I can't think of the
Oh,
guy's
baby,
name.
you.
All I know is, like I said, my son has been, because it's on TikTok a lot,
Oh,
because
okay.
he was like, oh, this is the official FIFA World Cup song. No, it's not. There's no
Nobody
way.
wants that to be official.
I mean, it's so bad, and I mean it's worse than that. I just
Yes.
played like the best parts of the clip.
So I have a confession to make, and
What?
then I will redeem myself afterwards. I played soccer for 12 years. growing
Were
up.
you a child, or was it above the age of 10?
It was above the age
Oh,
of 10.
okay, so you were in the
I
part,
played it
the
in
part
high
where it was-
school.
okay,
and
so
then I
you-
switched to football in high school.
So you were borderline getting into where it was gay to play soccer.
Yes.
It was
yeah.
it was cute, and then they were
Yes.
like, "Are you really still doing that thing?"
Yeah. But
It's like dragging around a blanket.
yes,
It's
but
like,
on a military base, it's either soccer or foot or baseball.
okay,
That's the only
so
two things you got. And I
baseball,
I-
right
I-
there. There's
I
baseball.
suck at baseball.
Well,
So and maybe if I started playing baseball when I was 5, I'd be good at it. But soccer just seemed easier at the age of 5.
like I started to say, it's like dragging around a blanket. When you're little, it's cute, but when you're like 14, man.
But it was
it's
a big
super gay.
culture on the military base. So even at the high school,
I
so
guess.
and my redemption is that I am missing the Steelers getting their ass kicked, so I can
Talk about
soccer.
It's like poetic justice. But like I said in the pre-show there, I haven't heard so much about
Yes,
like a
no.
soccer match in all my life.
Yeah.
It's like all over the news. It's like engulfing the
Yes.
news right now. It's like the war in Ukraine and then World Cup. It's like
But
what
I'm pretty sure with the World Cup going on, that's all they're talking about.
Mhm.
Like in all the other nations, like even the election shit that Brazil is going through right now, they don't care. It's World Cup season.
do you think, because from what I'm told, they actually pushed back the World Cup a few months because Qatar was so far behind in preparations and stuff.
and
You
which
think
means
maybe that was intentional?
oh, yeah,
Let's put
definitely.
this right at like global election time. So
Yes.
nobody's paying
Yeah.
attention to elections. Everybody is hyper focused on World Cup, except the United States. The United
Right.
States is like, man, I wish these people would focus more on the World Cup because, man, it would be really nice if they'd be watching sports while we
Yeah,
go
right.
through.
Yeah.
I mean, what sports are people watching during the election? Because basketball is barely kicking off, so not too
Oh.
many people are really watching.
Football, but
Well, yeah, but
Tuesday night, there's
and-
nothing going on.
and it's not like in the
It's not the playoffs.
in the
right,
trenches
right.
of the season or
Right, right.
anything. So I mean, it's still like early. Has basketball even kicked off yet?
I
It
think
has.
so. Yeah.
And
yeah.
football is like what, still the first half at that point. No,
Yeah, that's
November.
true,
So I mean,
It's just starting the second half.
yeah, like
so.
you said, nobody plays on Tuesday night,
Right,
so
right, right,
nobody's
yeah.
paying attention. But what do you? I mean, I tried hard. Seeing all this stuff pop up about the World Cup, I tried hard to ignore it because, again, I don't,
You don't
care. I
Right,
don't care.
Right, yeah.
It's probably my least cared, besides, I don't know, maybe more than curling. I'm not sure.
Curling is damn interesting.
Yes, the sweepers.
yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that goes
So,
into that.
so scale of like which is better, soccer or curling? What would you prefer to watch?
God bless. Man, I don't. You know, if I I would probably, if I was flipping through and saw curling, I'd probably stop and watch for a little bit.
Soccer, would you?
No, soccer and golf, I think, are two that I would just go
Now
right by.
that was my next question. What would you prefer to watch, soccer or golf?
Man. Probably soccer because there's a chance a fight could break out.
Now I'd prefer to watch golf because it's easier to take a nap to and then come back
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're still
okay.
just hitting
What
the ball.
about soccer or NASCAR?
Oh God. But there's always the possibility of a major accident
That's true.
in
yeah.
NASCAR.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They all suck. So
I mean, when you watch a game that ends tie 0-0, right? Like America and Britain. I mean, you got to question your life choices, right?
I mean, my son has been forcing me to play FIFA on the Xbox.
Okay.
How
How's that?
It's pretty pretty atrocious. I'm terrible at it. It's like
does he kick your ass?
Oh, every single
Yeah.
time. He's France, which I guess is a good soccer team from what he says.
Okay, at least they got something going.
Yeah,
for 'em.
and
We sound like rednecks tonight.
we absolutely do. So playing this, and you'll kick the ball to somebody, and they'll be like, "Sorry, that was an offsides penalty." And I'm like, "What the fuck's offsides in soccer?" And so I looked it up, and I understood less about what offsides was in soccer after
Yeah.
reading than I did not knowing anything.
Yes.
What is offsides in soccer?
Isn't that
should
when
know.
someone,
I
like-
don't know. Don't say is
Oh,
that when? 'Cause I don't
okay,
know.
okay. So before the there's two. Okay, the first one is before the kickoff. If someone like runs across the line.
Now I understand that.
Okay.
But this is like middle of kicking around and stuff. They'll kick
Okay,
it to
so
a guy and they'll be like, "Nope, that's offside."
I think if somebody is like kind of like a backcourt foul for basketball, isn't that what that is?
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's
So I got thrown off. So I coached soccer last year for my daughter's soccer team, and I got thrown off because they play it like really like elementary wise, you know, and
because
so
they're elementary students.
Yeah, well, yes. But even when I was in elementary, we had more rules and more positions and stuff, and
Kids
so
don't have
just
that
threw me off.
attention span these
Oh,
days.
apparently not.
They're like, just run. You see that round thing? You run out and kick it and into that square thing over there. It's like, no, not that
Yeah.
square thing.
Right.
That square thing. And then when they switch sides at the half,
Right.
all hell
Yeah,
breaks
well,
loose.
apparently you can't. Yeah, and you can't have a goalie.
Oh yeah. That's what my
Right?
son played soccer
Yeah.
when he was I think 7 and 8.
Yeah.
And yeah, they didn't have goalies
Yeah.
then.
You just have two defensive people stand in
it's-
front of it. Like,
It's pretty stupid.
it is.
And
It is.
lots of participation trophies in
Yeah.
the soccer
Yeah.
realm these days.
Yeah.
So we're not here again. I said we're going to talk about everything but the sport,
I know,
but
I
all
know.
we've done so
it's
far
unavoidable. It's
is talk
unavoidable.
about the sport. But at least we're both on the same page with this one.
Yes.
We've for the first time come to terms in an argument about a sport.
Yes.
And that is we both
yes.
collectively
Baseball,
hate soccer.
football, soccer.
Yeah. Screw our argument. Like we're busy hating on each other for liking
Yes.
baseball or football, and there are actual people out there that watch soccer.
Yes.
And we're
Yes.
wasting our efforts
Yes.
talking shit to each other. We should combine those efforts to talk shit to the
We're
soccer
joining our
watchers.
forces.
Yes.
Against soccer.
So, sport aside, shitty sport aside, there's all this freaking controversy going around surrounding the whole freaking World Cup.
Yes.
From bribery, like we said,
Yes.
with the host country, which is Qatar,
Yes.
which I didn't even know where Qatar was until
Oh,
today.
okay.
I knew the region. I knew it was
Sure.
somewhere in the Middle East.
Now, have they ever had the World Cup in a Middle Eastern country before?
That I couldn't tell you. I don't
okay,
I don't
okay,
follow.
okay.
I don't know. Find out. So, like I said, I didn't know where Qatar was, so I had to look it up. So, for all of you people who are dumbasses like me, here it is. You see it? You see Qatar on that map?
No.
Well,
No, but I know
there's
where it
There's
is.
Saudi Arabia and
Yeah.
Iraq and Iran. And if you let me see if it'll let me zoom. It was letting me zoom. There we go. Zoom way in. Wait, a little more. You see that little finger? That little it's like
Yes.
it's like Saudi Arabia's dick. That little nub right there.
Yes.
That's Qatar.
Okay.
That tiny little I don't even know how that becomes
That should be their motto. That should be their national motto.
We're
Saudi Arabia's dick.
I mean, basically, I mean, can you describe it any other way?
No, that's pretty accurate.
So that right there is where Qatar is. A country where human rights violations are rampant, apparently, because they
Yes.
are what's the Islam rule?
This is the very first World Cup hosted by an Arab country,
really?
Yes.
All right. Well, now we know. The
Yes.
more you know.
right?
So
Hence the controversy, right? Because
yeah.
of the social restrictions.
yeah, like I said, human rights abuses
Up the yin yang.
all over the place. According,
Yes.
I mean, what's the Arab law or the Muslim
Sharia.
law? Sharia law
Yeah.
is like huge there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like half social law, half Sharia law, and they kind of try to have a blend of the two, but they don't usually blend too well together.
Right.
So it's very religious
Yeah.
state. So you obviously got to talk a little bit about what Qatar, where Qatar, or a little bit about Qatar, because again, I didn't know too much about it. I didn't even know if it was a country or like a capital of like Iran or something like that when we first started looking into it. So apparently it was one of the early members of OPEC. So a lot of oil money
Very
there.
wealthy
Very
country.
wealthy country.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like one of the top GDPs, I think, like per capita, like money per person.
Yeah.
Well, they only have a couple million people, and they have a lot of oil money there. So, yeah, they're pretty well off. It's kind of like the UAE, which is practically next door neighbors.
I'm
to
surprised
them.
we haven't gone in and tried to give them some freedom.
Well, I feel like they probably give us a ton of money themselves.
Probably, yes.
They have particularly strong ties with China, Iran, Turkey, and the United States. Now that seems odd to me.
Yes.
When I mean, it doesn't seem odd, but it should seem odd to me.
Yes.
When a country has strong ties to like our arch nemesis, like China and Iran, and then we also have strong ties with it. Yeah. Like, at what point do we draw the line? It's like, you're in bed with them. Right. I don't feel comfortable with this situation, so. Mm-hmm. We're gonna cut back on some of our ties with you, but no, there's oil there. There's tons of oil there,
so like, we'll bend over and take a little just so
obviously
we can get some oil.
Human rights issues, obviously. Well, let's get into the law stuff, because it says according to Qatar's constitution, Sharia law is the main source of Qatari legislation, although in practice Qatar's legal system is a mixture of civil law and Sharia law. Okay. Sharia law is applied to family law, inheritance, and several crime acts, including adultery, robbery, and murder. In some cases, Sharia-based family courts treat a female's testimony as being worth half of that of a man's. Codified family law was introduced in 2006. Islamic polygamy is permitted, so they got one thing going for them.
Do they?
No. Judicial corporal punishment is punishment in Qatar. Flogging is employed as punishment for alcohol consumption or illicit sexual relations.
So there goes Vegas.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. They're not allowed to drink alcohol, but certain places are allowed to sell alcohol, like certain hotels.
Okay.
That are allowed to sell to tourists. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's like, if it's that bad,
right.
Yeah. Why are you making money off of it?
Right.
It's I don't know. I don't agree with this thing, but there's a lot of fucking money to be made in it.
Yeah. That does surprise me from a country that has a blended Sharia law in their constitution that they would sell alcohol.
Right.
So you would think that'd be a no-go.
Says stoning is a legal punishment in Qatar, and apostasy and homosexuality are crimes punishable by the death penalty. And that's one of the big things that people are pissed off about, is homosexuality is legal and punishable up to death. But it says, however, the penalty has not been carried out for either crime. So there's the possibility of it. Yeah.
I mean, like they're
not on the
broadcast it.
You don't think they put that on the books?
Right. Yeah. That's not something they're like tonight on the news.
I mean, maybe they do. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah.
Blasphemy can result in up to 7 years in prison, while proselytizing, which I'm guessing is like speaking about other religions, can incur a 10-year sentence. So speaking blasphemous against Islam is 7 years, but if you're like a Christian, like pushing Christianity, that's punishable of up to 10 years. So that's way worse. Here's the alcohol part. It says alcohol consumption is partially legal in Qatar. Some 5-star luxury hotels are allowed to sell alcohol to their non-Muslim customers. Muslims are not allowed to consume alcohol, and those caught consuming it are liable to flogging or deportation. Non-Muslims, expatriates can obtain a permit to purchase alcohol for personal consumption. So it sounds like the rich people can get rich off alcohol, because it's only certain like luxury hotels. It's not like the local bar can't serve alcohol to non-Muslims and make a profit off it. But the elite like hotel, 5-star hotels, that's fine.
So I'm curious, if you're a Muslim man and you go into one of these hotels and purchase alcohol, you would probably get in a lot of trouble, right? I mean, do they check your religion card at the door? I mean, how does that work?
I don't know. Maybe.
Right? I mean, if you're a Muslim bartender and you're slipping some drinks in the back, I mean,
I don't know.
It just seems really bizarre to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty open to interpretation from what it sounds like, but who gets to interpret it? It's probably the rich that get to interpret it. No, it's okay for you and you to sell it and consume it, but them not so much. So I don't know. It's pretty classist, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It says, as of 2014, this is in human rights, certain provisions of Qatari criminal code allow punishment such as flogging and stoning to be imposed as criminal sanctions. So this isn't like laws that, I mean, I'm sure it goes back centuries, but they put it on their books in 2014.
Yeah.
So it's like there's progression, and then there's Qatar. You're like, you know what would be great progress in this country is if we allowed stoning and flogging as a punishment.
Right. Yes.
I mean, I'm assuming is that roughly around the time of like the Muslim what was where all the countries started, like the Muslim Brotherhood like take over and stuff like that in Egypt and
with ISIS?
No, it was like
you're thinking like in the 80s, early 80s when the Shah of Iran came to power.
Well, like during Obama's era, like the whole hardline Muslim stance kind of started sweeping back through as well. And I mean, I might be retarded. So there has been something there. Maybe it was Al Qaeda, maybe it's ISIS. I don't know. But it seems like a lot of countries started like clamping down even harder about that time.
I think like kind of late 70s is when there was kind of like a sweeping reform towards like more of a theocracy in the Middle East.
Right. So it says Qatar retains the death penalty mainly for threats against national security, such as terrorism. So they have death penalty for terrorism and homosexuality.
Okay, well, different strokes.
It says in Qatar, homosexual acts are illegal and can be punished by death. So I don't know. What do you think about this country so far? We're not going to read everything about it. I just wanted kind of a breakdown.
I mean, it seems like a pretty typical Middle Eastern country.
Sure.
Not to be stereotypical, but that's what it sounds like. Lots of money. They on the surface, are almost a theocracy, but they have just enough civil law built in to make them progressive enough that they can hold the World Cup.
I was going to say, is this enough? Do you think personally, is this enough to like disqualify them from being able to host the World Cup?
Yeah.
Now, looking at like the track record of world sports, looking at like China and how many times they've got the Olympics, do you think it's a disqualifier?
No.
I mean, at least from what we know, they're not harvesting organs
that we know of.
I mean, that's clearly not a disqualifier. So flogging and stoning versus...
I think as we've seen with any sport, Olympics, World Cup, whatever, I mean, a little grease goes a long way to get them through. Yeah, money talks. Yes. Oh yeah. We'll overlook the stoning and the women only being partial citizens, so that we can have the sport here.
Well, yeah. And apparently, it's come out. Would you be shocked to hear that bribes to FIFA secured their spot in the World Cup?
Not at all.
Now, my next question is, would you be surprised to hear if a country wasn't bribing FIFA or whoever the top dog of a major sport is? Yeah, that would surprise me, is if you found out Canada did not bribe FIFA to host it. And it's like,
really?
What the fuck? What the fuck were you doing?
Canada?
What did you do?
Yeah, right.
How did you get it? You got it by merit?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Is that even possible anymore?
So this is from the Daily Wire. It says report. This is from back in 2019. So this has been in the
works for a while.
Yeah, this came out 3 years ago, and yet we're still hosting the World Cup at Qatar.
And unlike the Olympics, I mean, the World Cup is a hot item. I mean, people want the World Cup. They don't care about the Olympics.
Yeah, do people still want the Olympics?
No. I think because when you talked about it, I think the only company that was bidding for it was China.
That's fair. So, according to a report, Qatar paid $880 million in bribes to FIFA to secure the 2022 World Cup. And the bribery gets deeper than that.
Oh, of course.
So this says, according to a bombshell report, I don't consider this a bombshell. The tiny but disproportionately wealthy and influential peninsula state of Qatar bribed.
I love how they threw that in there.
Yes, tiny but disproportionately wealthy and influential. Bribed FIFA officials to the tune of $880 million in order to secure its bid to play host to the 2022 World Cup. Says the allegations were first made in a book, Whatever It Takes, The Inside Story of the FIFA Way, by a whistleblower from inside Australia's failed 2022 bid. So Australia was just pissed that their bribe wasn't enough.
Right, they didn't give enough.
Look, we offered $750 million.
Come on, Australia, if you care.
So it says, however, the Sunday Times said it also has seen documents showing executives from Al Jazeera signed a TV contract that included an unprecedented success fee of $100 million to be paid to FIFA only if Qatar wins the World Cup ballot in 2010.
Damn.
So Al Jazeera comes out and they're like, all right. We are willing to offer you $100 million to be the host of, or to be to have the TV contract for the World Cup. They're like, oh, that sounds great. But caveat, we're only going to do it if you make Qatar the country of origin for the hosting country for this. And they're like, oh, okay. And sure, why not?
And being Qatar and being the first Middle Eastern country to be able to host, of all of the Middle Eastern Arab countries, that was probably the easiest to try to clean up and sweep stuff under the rug to be able to host.
Because nobody knows anything about Qatar. Right. And it's so tiny. It's a small area to sweep.
Yes.
It's not like China where we got to like suck pollution out of the air.
Right. Yes. And hide 1 billion people.
Yes. Says the document. The documents allegedly state, in the event that 2022 competition is awarded to the state of Qatar, Al Jazeera shall, in addition to the rights fee, pay FIFA into the designated account the monetary amount of $100 million. The Sunday Times said it also seen a copy of a second secret television rights contract for a further $480 million that was offered by Qatar 3 years later, which it said was now part of a bribery inquiry by Swiss police. So back in 2019, they were looking into this whole bribery claim.
Right.
Fast forward to 2022, and it's like, we're still doing it. We're still having it here.
It's like, they bribed $880 million in 2019, and then in 2022 they decided to slip another $400 million to them.
I mean, wasn't it the Olympics? Was it Russia that they accused of bribing, and what they still hosted there? What they do, slap them on the wrist or something? What do they do? Say, hey, you can't host it here for another 4 years?
Well, that, and I don't think they could compete.
Really?
Yeah, they couldn't compete.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything that says Qatar is not able to compete in this.
Because this is just going to get swept under the rug.
It says, along with increasingly Islamist Turkey, Qatar is one of two chief contemporary bankrollers of extremist Sunni madrasas and insidious pro-Muslim Brotherhood academic sinecures alike. Qatar is infamous for its cozy ties with Hamas and even with Al-Qaeda. So we got all kinds of.
This is from the Daily Wire. So this is very right wing.
Oh, yeah. You got to realize that. Now, this part is interesting. Qatari influence in the United States is routine and hardly abnormal. As the Daily Caller reported in December, Department of Education data show that the Qatari government has given $1 billion to American universities since 2011.
Damn.
So they're throwing their money all over the place.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we ask, why in the world would the U.S. be in relations with Qatar when they're cozied up with China? Well, that's just to the education system.
Yeah. So Qatar is probably giving China $1 billion for their universities, right?
Oh yeah.
Does Qatar know what our universities teach?
Well, it says the top university recipient of Qatari government donations has been Georgetown University. Accordingly, the Middle East Forum has described Georgetown University's Middle East studies as the most intolerant, ideological, anti-Israel, and pro-Islamist in the United States. So
the LGBT agenda in the university is trumped by the anti-Israel agenda.
Yeah, that's probably fair. So And obviously, Daily Wire is going to push against that
Oh,
because
of course, it's the Daily Wire.
Ben Shapiro is Jewish, so
There you go.
he's going to take that personally. Obviously, not saying he shouldn't, but I find it interesting all the money that Qatar is throwing out there, and then we dare to ask the question: how the hell did Qatar get this World Cup thing? And it's like, well, I mean, they're throwing money at everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's going to look at this and be like, oh, bribery. No, you can't have it there because, I mean, they're going to bankroll off the shit.
Right. Yeah.
So, like I said, that was 2019. Well, apparently, just this year, another $6 million bribery scandal came out.
Jeez.
Because it says, this is from Yahoo Sports. It says, a key official for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar has again been forced to deny explosive bribery allegations after being accused of buying votes to secure the football showpiece for the Middle Eastern country. Claims that Qatar official offered more than 6 million Australian dollars. I don't know what the exchange rate is there.
Either. I don't even know what the bill is. I mean, what is the monetary that they use in Australia?
It just says AUD dollar, so Australian dollars. 6 million Australian dollars. That could be like 58 cents. I don't know. To voters from Africa, which 58 cents would be a lot.
That's true.
In Africa. That's horrible. In order to help secure hosting rights for the 2022 Cup, have resurfaced in a Netflix documentary released this
week. $1 is 67 cents.
Okay, so you're looking at 6 million. So you're still looking in the probably 4 million range.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So, but offered $4 million to voters from Africa in order to help secure hosting rights, which resurfaced in a Netflix documentary this week.
Oh,
so
really?
I missed that one.
Yeah.
Probably saw World Cup soccer and I was like, nope, not watching that.
Yeah.
The 4-part show FIFA Uncovered directly put the question to key Qatari official Hassan Al-Thawadi, the bid campaign leader in 2010, now heading the World Cup organizing committee, of whether he took part in offering $1.5 million bribes to each of the FIFA voters of Africa. Of course, they come out and said, no, that didn't happen.
No,
that's hearsay.
As he got in his new Lamborghini.
He says, this was his reaction. My reaction, especially on the whistleblower situation, it's frustration. They are inherently false, and there are facts on the ground to prove they are false.
Sounds false.
There it is. The fact checkers. That's just like the news fact checkers we have now.
Right.
The Snopes fact checkers. Like, no, there's proof that this is wrong. It's just like, oh, okay, well then I guess it must be false.
Right. In other news, all the Australian players have been found positive for steroids and will not be able to compete.
And they all died suddenly.
Yes.
So, again, is it shocking that this is out there?
No, I mean, that just sounds like the game. I mean, that's what happens. It just, I think Qatar probably put a little bit more up than most countries.
I mean, $880 million.
Well, yeah, compared to Australia's $4 million.
I don't know what they put up, but
laugh their ass off at Australia. Be like, come
on. I can one up you. What about almost $1 billion?
Yeah,
$1 billion. Money talks.
Yeah.
Money speaks.
Yeah, for everything.
What do you think of Al Jazeera? And they're like, we'll kick an extra 100 mil if. Like, we're already going to buy the rights to it, but we'll kick in an extra 100 mil if you push it towards Qatar.
Yeah.
That should not be fucking legal.
No, not at all.
That should, maybe it should be legal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we should let them all bribe away. Just bribe away. Just throw your money at it.
Yeah.
It's all a joke anyway. Just throw more money at it. Let all the countries just throw equal amounts.
Maybe maybe Qatar will win the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they threw enough money at them that
I was
going to
say, did they say, hey, we'll offer you another 100 mil?
We don't want first place because that might be a little fishy, but maybe like fourth.
Yeah, get us on the world stage.
Yeah.
Literally on the world stage. It seems kind of like China, like their bid to get their name as the center of the world for at least a while. It's just like, we're willing to throw all this money at it because it's like the last 10, 15, 20 years, Qatar apparently has like skyrocketed their economy and shit, kind of like China.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's just like, well, we're going to let this country host this major world thing.
And think about it though. I mean, with China, it's just China. But I think with
Just
Qatar,
China.
I know, just China. But with Qatar, I think it's the whole Mid-Eastern like environment is pushing for this one country to be able to be that center, because once they open that door, I mean, they're already talking about Saudi Arabia hosting next year.
Really?
Yeah.
Then UAE the following year, and then
Right. Yeah, because
Iran,
once
and
they
then-
open the door to the Middle East, then they'll take off, and
Sure.
that behooves Al Jazeera as the major media
of the
corporation
Middle
of the
East.
Middle East to
Right.
be a part of that.
Now, do you think? It makes me wonder. Does WEF have anything going on in the Middle East right now? Because I mean,
I'm
remember
sure. I'm
right
sure.
before like the Beijing Olympics and
Yeah.
stuff, the WEF comes out and is like, China is going to be the next big player on the world stage. And then you had their opening ceremonies, which was the 2008 Olympics. Then you had their, and we did the episode saying that they've made it to the top. Well, symbolically, they think they made it to the top, and here the 21, was it 20 or 21 Olympics?
21.
Then it's back in Beijing again, and we're like, well, this is it. This is 2008 was like, guys, we're going to be the top dog. And 2021, they're like, guys, we're the top dog. And the WEF is all over their dicks last year. So it makes me wonder what the WEF has going on in Qatar right now.
What is it? Is it Egypt or is it Saudi Arabia that's doing that smart city?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of focus there being like the push towards the whole like new agenda, the fourth industrial revolution that the WEF, Klaus Schwab,
and maybe that's part of it. I mean, because if the Middle East and then Saudi Arabia is switching over to carbon credits. So
they are?
Yeah. So they're
okay.
switching over to carbon credits. They got the smart city. So once Qatar, like said, the president of the FIFA, sorry, what's his name? I
don't know.
Anyways, we'll get to him. I had an article about him, but anyways, he's really pushing for Saudi Arabia to be the next host.
Okay.
And so maybe that's part of their give is like, okay, we're switching to carbon credits, and then the WEF is like, okay, they're next, right? I mean, I don't know. It's
now why then? If Saudi Arabia is pushing all this stuff, why then have it in Qatar instead of in Saudi Arabia?
Well, but again, maybe Qatar is the easier one to close.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Saudi Arabia does have a lot of baggage, known baggage.
Right.
Like, what was it? Just recently, Biden came out and said that Prince bin Salman or whatever his name is, like basically declared him immune from lawsuit of the families of like somebody that got killed down there.
From the journalists.
The journalists, like there's lawsuits from the families of the journalists that got killed, and they think it was a direct order from the prince there, the Saudi prince, and then all of a sudden Biden's like, we're gonna make him immune. It's like, what?
Yeah, which is surprising considering.
Is it surprising?
Well, but Saudi Arabia was on his shit list. Right? Because
but were they though?
Well, you're right. It was probably just the show.
I mean, China was on his shit list too.
That's true.
And I mean, how many deals has he done with China that we know about?
Yeah. Or at least Hunter.
Yeah, well, exactly. Now, I can see past the bribery because, like I said, every sport has bribery in it. Specifically the world sports, it's chock full of bribery. I mean, an allegation comes out every single time Olympics, and it's like, well, allegations of bribery. It's like, yeah, no kidding.
Right.
Now, what I can't see past is this is it right here: the greatest atrocity, human rights abuse that could ever be perpetrated by the World Cup. Days ago, I think 10 days ago, Qatar banned the sales of beer at the World Cup.
Wow.
Right in the fans' face. Just like, you know what? We're going to allow beer. We're going to allow beer. We're going to allow beer. 10 days before, they're like, we're not going to, no beer. No beer allowed.
I'm surprised the United States was like, you know what? We're done. Fuck you.
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
If I was a player, I'd be like, fuck this. I'm gone. So this is from ABC News.
And boycott, you do like a Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes.
In the middle of the field.
Yes. So Qatar banned the sale of beer Friday, a sudden U-turn on the deal. The conservative my computer going to again because
I'm frozen. No,
it's
wait.
doing things.
I'm
You're kind of
frozen.
frozen. You're always frozen though.
That's true.
It doesn't like you.
No.
Qatar banned the sale of beer, a sudden U-turn on the deal the conservative Muslim emirate made to secure the soccer tournament with only 2 days to go before the games. So it was 2 days before, like actually, no beer here. So it says it was a significant blow to the World Cup beer sponsor Budweiser and raised question about how much control FIFA retains over the tournament. When Qatar launched its bid to host the World Cup, the country agreed to FIFA's requirements of selling alcohol in the stadium. So that was part of the deal. It's like, if you want to host this thing, you got to serve beer because
think about all the pissed off Brits.
Well, think about fucking Budweiser. They've been the World Cup.
Yes.
I've seen posts from Budweiser of just pallets of
my gosh.
millions of beers just stacked up waiting to sell there. And they're like, I think they were doing like I can't remember if it was a drawing or they were doing some competition where like people would get like free beer for the rest of their life just to get rid of this fucking beer. It says, but the details, so it says they turned on this deal. It says the details were only released in September, just 11 weeks before the first kickoff, suggesting how fraught the negotiations may have been. Friday's statement from FIFA said non-alcoholic beer will still be sold at the 8 stadiums.
Oh, so just shoot me.
So rest assured, people, you can still get your non-alcoholic beer if you desire.
They would have been better off not telling them that it was non-alcoholic.
Now, we talked about the classist shit with like the being able to sell it from like luxury hotels.
Yeah.
Champagne, wine, and whiskey and other alcohol will be served in luxury hospitality areas of the arenas.
That's bullshit.
So like in hospitality suites where all the rich fuckers get to go. It's like, well, yeah, you guys get drinks, but the low lives, they're not allowed.
People in the nosebleed seats, they don't get anything. They have to drink apple juice
or non-alcoholic beer, which I'd rather drink apple juice. It says, but the vast majority of ticket holders don't have access to those areas. They will be able to drink alcoholic beer in the evenings in what is known as the FIFA Fan Festival, a designated party area that also offers live music and activities. So like the after party, they get to drink beer there, but in the stadium.
Not in the stadium.
I mean, shit, the $12, $15 beers, man, and Budweiser's going to go broke.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a lot.
Says several soccer fans took the decision in stride, with some noting that they knew the rules would be different in Qatar. Now, this person is full of shit. This person says, we're not here to drink beer. We're here to watch the world-class soccer. That comes directly from a non-beer drinker. Because it goes hand in, like this next person says, I think it's bad because for me, beer and football go hand in hand. Yeah, you can't watch sports without getting beer.
Okay, so a category 4 ticket, which is the cheapest you can get for a Qatari citizen, I'm not sure if that's the proper term, is $205.
Okay, that sounds
for a non-Qatar resident, it's $600.
Holy shit, that goes up drastically.
Now, for a category 1 ticket, which is good seats,
where you get to drink whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking at $1,600 a ticket.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What about like the top of the top? Is there like,
let's see here.
Super sweets?
There's got to be. All right, hold on here.
It goes on to say, for many fans, whether they don't drink alcohol or are used to dry stadium policies at home, this is a detail. It won't change the tournament, but with 48 hours to go, we've clearly entered a dangerous territory where assurances don't matter anymore. So that's the whole point that they are making. I mean, for me, it's all about the beer. For them, it's all about, well, if they can nix this 48 hours before the game starts, what else can they backpedal on?
Right.
What other assurances can they for me, it's just solely about the beer.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't care about the other assurances. It's all about the beer.
So apparently $1,600 is the highest it goes, but
really
the price has jumped 59% for tickets compared to where it was the last World Cup.
How much?
59%.
Oh, wow.
So
I wonder why. Inflation, damn it.
Qatar.
The company, so this is talking about Budweiser. because Budweiser first tweet after finding out, they just tweeted out, "Well, this is awkward," but they later deleted the tweet. I would have left it up. It says, the parent company of Budweiser, Ab InBev, acknowledged in a statement that some of its plans cannot move forward due to circumstances beyond our control. The company pays tens of millions of dollars at each World Cup for exclusive rights to sell beer and has already shipped the majority of its stock from Britain to Qatar in expectation of selling its product to millions of fans.
Damn.
Says while the actual sales of the tournament might not be a significant percentage of the massive company's revenue, that's pretty significant though. I don't know how many people go there, but you're talking tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You're talking millions of beers. You're talking
Yeah.
at least tens of millions of beers.
Oh yeah.
Says while the actual sales might not be significant percentage of the company's revenue, the World Cup nonetheless represents a major branding opportunity. Now, are they still allowed to flash like the official beer of the World Cup, like you see like
Probably.
in the background and stuff?
Probably.
I mean, that would be pretty shitty if they're
That
like,
would be shitty.
and no beer advertisement. And they're like, well,
Right?
fuck.
Yeah. Right.
They just blur out Budweiser on all screens.
Yeah. Well, it kind of makes you wonder. So Al Jazeera is forking out extra money, right, so that they can put it in Qatar. Will Budweiser fork out extra money to bribe them to have it in a country where they can actually serve beer?
Yeah, that Budweiser, do your part. I mean, it's
Yes.
only $880 million.
Yeah, you got this.
You can do this.
Yeah.
I mean, get it. I don't know where would you put it? I was gonna say back in Missouri, but
right.
Budweiser's not in the United States anymore.
Oh,
It's-
are they not?
No, they
Where are
got bought
not?
out by a Brit or something. So
well, fuck them. then.
that Ab and Bev or whatever it was.
What
So-
they need to do is they just like maybe be like, okay, we won't serve beer, but let us have like a blimp above the stadium, right?
Mhm.
And then just drop the beer out the bottom onto the crowd like
Yes.
rain cloud, right?
I mean-
and it's just like pouring rain beer.
Now, from what it sounds, it seems like FIFA is a bit of pushover. So it's I would
fuck
think
yes.
I would think even though do you think FIFA gave back the tens of millions of dollars to Budweiser? They're like, my bad. Here you go.
I think they were more like, you know what? It didn't work out this time, but next time we got you.
Now I could see if Budweiser did drop the blimp full of beer, they would probably get reprimanded by FIFA.
They would probably create an international incident.
There might be a war,
Yes.
another war, another
Raining
war.
alcohol on a populace that cannot have alcohol because of religious reasons.
Oh my gosh, that might be deemed a hate crime.
Yeah,
I
probably
think
would.
it very much could be deemed a
Yes.
hate crime.
I think it could be, but it would be hilarious.
Now I knew this. This is terrible. This is me admitting to how terrible I used to be, and I'm
Used to be.
slightly less terrible now. I knew this kid back in high school that was allergic. Probably what you consider gluten intolerant today, but that term didn't really exist back
Sure,
then. But he was allergic to I knew he was allergic to bread and bread like products. So I'm guessing it was gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
So me and some friends wanted to put beer in squirt guns and squirt him with beer because he's allergic to it, and we wanted to see what would happen. We didn't do it,
Okay.
but we wanted
Yeah.
to. So now that I think might be constituted as
That
in
would-
today's world as a hate crime.
Probably.
So
yes.
maybe just maybe showering beer on people whose religion says you can't
yes.
consume beer. That might
that
be
would be
a hate
equivalent
crime.
of dropping bacon on them.
Sounds delicious.
Right?
I mean, I would.
Bacon and beer dropped from the heavens. That's
I
like
mean, do you
manna.
think they'd be pissed, or you think they immediately convert?
I think that would probably make them all.
They never told us how delicious
I
this
know,
is.
This is fantastic. What the hell?
Oh, we are going to hell. What do you think so far? What do you think of this whole fiasco so far? Now, first of all, we got the bribery. Second of all,
Yes.
we've got the you can't have beer.
Right. Just a couple days before everything starts.
Do we have any faith in FIFA at this point?
Oh,
Anymore?
no. No. It to me, it just tells you just how bad soccer actually is.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing redeems soccer by what we've talked about.
it's bad enough that you got to watch soccer, but you have to watch it sober.
Right? Is that even possible?
I mean,
I bet you people in England, who are the mod squads or the goon squads and stuff that watch it, I bet you they're sitting in the stadium without drinking, watching, they were like, "This sucks, man."
I always
The
love
fuck?
soccer.
I know, but this is horrible.
It's like when you take a girl home from the bar and you wake up the
Right.
next day and you realize how ugly she
Right,
was.
and you're
They
like, "Ugh."
realize how shitty soccer is. The
Right.
beer goggles come off. They realize
Yes.
soccer is it's just soccer.
Right. It's like 0 I just wasted 4 hours of my life on
Oh,
this.
they're running that way.
Yeah.
They're going back that
Yeah,
way again. Oh, it's how the ball get back over there? Is there? I mean, again, we're not here to talk about the sport, but is there any like strategery in soccer? Like in football or baseball, there's like a playbook. Is there a playbook in soccer, or does the playbook you flip open the page and it's like kick the ball to the net, kick the ball down the field? All right, so listen up, folks. This is the play that we're gonna do today. You're gonna kick the ball in, and from there, John Boy over there, he's gonna get the ball and he's gonna kick it down the field, and then the surprise play, we're gonna kick it in the net.
Yeah.
Is there a playbook in soccer? I don't know. You played it.
Yes,
You played
yes,
it.
There is strategery in soccer, and it resembles a lot of basketball.
Okay,
kind
I don't
of,
like
you
to
know.
watch basketball.
Okay,
either,
okay.
but
So
there's
like
no.
you got your diamond formation and your triangle defense and offense. You can play zone or you can play man, and so there is strategy. There is strategy, but
It sounds like somebody drew something on a piece of paper and called it strategy to say, no, we are a real sport. See, we got plays on a book here. You see the diamonds and
Yes.
the I don't know what you just said. You lost me already. I don't care. Now I did see a post, somebody posted like, we could make soccer better if we just shrunk the field down. Shrunk it down considerably
Right.
smaller, and then shrink the goal sizes down, and then there's too many players on the field, so why don't we drop the players down to like 6 players? You got 3 forwards and then 2 defense and then 1 goalie, and then while you're at it, why don't you put it on ice? So hockey.
or you can make it like actual foosball, right? Strap people to poles,
That would be
And-
fucking
and
awesome.
twirl them around.
Oh, we got a free virtual girls chat in the comments.
Woo, yeah.
Go away. Maybe they like soccer. I don't know.
They probably do.
Hey, 69xx.life. What do you think about the sport of soccer? And what do you think about the bribery involved in
Yes, please
the World
comment.
Cup? Please comment.
Maybe these guys are based in Qatar.
Maybe that's how they got here. I think we're gonna get into break just a little early because we got other things to talk about. Yeah. We got through the hardest part of all of this, which is the outlaw of beer sales.
Yes. Are you going to make it?
Now, I wasn't going anyway, but I have less of a chance of going. Now, should we? This is going to get into like the human rights stuff too.
Yeah.
Should we be upset when a country hosts a world thing, but they have their own set of rules in their country? That'd be like, and this is a long stretch, obviously, from
Sure.
drinking beer to let's say a country that supports I don't know, female genital mutilation. Why not?
Sure.
They
Let's
come
go there.
over here and they're like, whoa, you're not going to allow us to mutilate our daughters while we're here?
Right.
I mean, this is her whatever birthday. This is when we do it. We're here for the World Cup. Shouldn't we be allowed to? This is a world thing. You should. I mean, obviously that's a big stretch.
That is a big
But
stretch.
should we? Now, should we be that outraged by a country that bans like alcohol because their country bans alcohol?
No, I think the writing's on the wall. I mean, to be honest.
Sure.
I mean, I think FIFA probably knew that beer was not going to fly.
Even though supposedly they wrote in the contract,
Yeah.
you got to serve alcohol. There had to have been some caveat.
Yeah.
You got to serve alcohol. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, we will at our high class hotels in the boxes or in the high expensive
So I guess
seats.
technically
They are.
they are abiding by the contract because they are serving alcohol. They're just not serving it to most of the people.
Yeah.
And they're not specifically serving Budweiser,
Exactly.
who is like the main sponsor of the World Cup.
And they're still sponsoring.
I mean, maybe Budweiser should have got the inside scoop.
I think Budweiser probably should have known better.
Yeah.
I kind of put this on them. I mean, to be honest, it's like, oh, so you're going to serve beer in your country that outlaws alcohol? All right, great. I mean, it just seems like they should have known.
Do your homework, Budweiser.
Yes. I mean, come on.
I don't know. I mean, we joke saying, like, I wouldn't watch it either way.
No.
It would be irritating being a soccer fan going and being like, oh, shit, I can't get beer.
Yeah.
But again, some of this stuff, at least some of this stuff, I'm like, I'm not really that up in arms that a country makes the choice to outlaw certain things.
Right. But when you consider the audience of soccer, or football, whatever, across the world, right? Again, it's the biggest sport in the world, right? I mean,
the rest of the world's retarded.
but what is it, like maybe 15% of the world doesn't drink alcohol, right? Maybe 10-15%. I don't know. Maybe I'm exaggerating. And so you decide to have the biggest sport in the world in this tiny country,
in the dick of Saudi Arabia,
that does not allow something that the rest of the world allows,
which is kind of culturally part of the sporting event itself.
It is.
It'd be like outlawing a ball in soccer. Like, we don't. It's against our religion to have round-shaped balls.
Yeah.
So we
Wouldn't
only
that
allow...
be a bitch if they're like, well, I understand how you guys play soccer, but in our country, we don't play soccer like that.
Yeah, we use square balls.
Yes.
Not round balls.
Yeah,
so
if you're going to have the World Cup in our country, you got to play
outlawed.
by our rules.
Yeah. So obviously that's an exaggeration from beer to the ball shape. But again, it's like the alcohol comes with the culture of the sport.
Exactly.
And to have the largest event of that sport, or all sports in this country, where part of that culture isn't allowed, I think that's a human rights abuse.
I agree. I agree.
That's a hate crime on its own.
It is.
Racism.
I think Qatar should be banned from having the World Cup ever again.
Yes, starting today.
Yes.
Yeah, let's just move it today to somewhere else.
Yes.
I'm sure there's got to be a backup plan, right?
Australia.
Well, Australia's been up, and there's lots of beer in Australia,
Exactly.
obviously. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the less concerning human rights abuses, like human trafficking and
stoning of
homosexuals. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. The stoning part, I take issue with.
Yeah.
But like that said, supposedly they've never actually issued a death penalty for homosexuality. I want to talk about, is it our right to say that a country should or should not allow homosexuality in order to host a world sport?
Okay.
So we'll talk about that more when we come back. We're going to take 3 or 4 minutes. We're going to probably go get some beer because now I really want beer.
I feel like we
stick
need
it to Qatar.
Protest. Yes.
We're going to stick it to Qatar. We're going to get some beer. And when we come back, we're going to continue to talk about the World Cup fiasco drama that's going on right now as we speak. So go get yourself a beer to stick it to Qatar and join us back here in 4 or 5 minutes. We will be right back if I can find my button. God, where are all my buttons at? Here we go. Goodbye.
Have you ever thought that maybe voting, maybe all this politics constantly surrounding you is not the way to achieve freedom in your life? Hi, I'm Remso W. Martinez, and I ask myself the same question. That's why I'm on a journey to find true freedom in my lifetime. From learning about financial independence, to new ways to develop rugged individualism, to amazing guests living strange, crazy, amazing lifestyles that you've only thought might be real, but actually are. Go ahead and check out my new show, On the Run with Remso W. Martinez at the We Are Libertarians Network. You can find On the Run with Remso W. Martinez on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. You know how the internet works. Come on down and let's discover how to achieve real freedom in your life together.
Hey everybody, I just want to take this time to give a big shout out to the very first sponsor of the Break the Bell podcast. That is Goulash Media. They can be found at goulashmedia.net. Goulash Media specializes in graphic design, web design, audio recordings, video work, wedding videos, music videos, even political campaign videos. Goulash Media caters to the little guy with the big vision. You can check them out at goulashmedia.net. That's GOULASH media.net.
time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light and drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this. How you can turn your own tables and work this. And take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. You're still alive, but you've been dead inside for a long time. And I understand why. But you did this to yourself. You did this to them. You don't even remember the name. Why should anybody remember you? Why should anyone give you another shot? You know you're wrong. You know you deserve to be forgotten. Now you're everything you always desired. You know you should feel through all the years of lies. All this effort to cover up what you've done. We already know. We already know. Wake up and be better before you. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. I know it's not a good time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light and drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this. How you can turn your own tables and work this. And take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. You're still alive, but you've been dead inside for a long time. And I understand why. But you did this to yourself. You did this to them. You don't even remember the name. Why should anybody remember you? Why should anyone give you another shot? You know you're wrong. You know you deserve to be forgotten. Now you're everything you always desired. You know you should feel through all the years of lies. All this effort to cover up what you've done. We already know. We already know. Wake up and be better before you. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle like vigil for your your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. I know it's not a good time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry good away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light and drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this. How you can turn your own tables and work this. And take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and
Let's play football. World Cup! 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 It's time to play football. World Cup! It's time to play football. World Cup! World Cup! World Cup! Todo do my voto. Football, football, oh, football, football.
Now, it's hard for me to hear a rap song about soccer because
Yes,
rap is predominantly an American
that's true. Yeah.
genre, and soccer, as we've mentioned, is predominantly not. And hearing hip hop mixed with soccer is just it's just weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just maybe I'm ignorant
No,
or something.
I
But
would agree with that.
I was
Yes.
gonna say, how many soccer rap songs have you heard?
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I would say that's the first. I mean, that would be like having a country song do soccer.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
But you know what you're doing is you're setting yourself up to. You're going to be working tomorrow, and all of a sudden you're going to start singing that song in your head.
I've already since I edited out that little clip, that's all I've been hearing in my head. Now, as I said, I'm going to pour one out for my buddies in Qatar. This Bud's for you. This isn't Bud. This chorus is for you, Qatar. Now, if I was Budweiser, if you missed the first half, which you shouldn't have, the biggest human rights abuse of the World Cup is that Qatar banned the sale of alcohol at the stadiums 2 days before, and I mean that's just horrible.
That is
now
horrible.
If I was Budweiser, the official beer of the World Cup, and I wasn't one of those corporations that actually is concerned about public opinion in general. Specifically, the public opinion of the country that banned your sales of the biggest sporting event of all time. My new ad would just be a guy, probably a soccer player, famous American soccer player. I don't know any of them, but get a soccer player on, and he'd take his beer and he'd be like, "This Bud's for you, Qatar," and he'd open it up and flip off the camera as he's drinking the beer. And I mean,
if
$1 million idea right there, marketing.
If Budweiser was still owned by America,
that would be
absolutely yes. But because it's now owned by Britain, then that's not going to happen.
Now, do you think there'd be a lot of blowback from probably even white American women that would push back?
Yes.
That's so fucking racist.
Yes,
It's like, no,
yeah.
it's not.
No,
It's
no.
a fuck you to
Yes.
them sticking it to us. They
Absolutely.
stuck it to us. We stuck it back to
Exactly.
them.
You know
So-
what's racist is banning beer,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, you're racist to all the cultures that drink beer as part of their culture. I mean, what's more racist? Like being upset about the ones that outlaw it or outlawing it?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
right.
pretty racist. I mean, side note, humanity survived because of beer.
I agree with that. Yes.
I'm serious. There was
No, I
like
am
back long time ago when there was like all these problems with like, I don't know, like bacteria in the water.
Mhm.
Like people made beer and the fermentation process killed a lot of the bacteria. And it also like had like sustaining calories and protein needed. So humanity owes its existence to beer. So
Absolutely.
for a culture to be like, you know what, we don't allow beer. Isn't that just like sticking it to the like life-saving property, like God-given life-saving properties of beer in general?
Absolutely.
It's like sticking it to God, really.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that.
It's like, I know you saved us with this delicious beverage, but you know what? Fuck you, God. We're gonna I don't know. If I keep down this course, we're definitely going to get in trouble. So let's move away from the beer sales in Qatar for now. I don't even have my notes. I don't even know where I am. Do you want to watch soccer more now that we've been talking about it?
On the contrary, no. Now, could you imagine? Okay, this is insane. All right, paying $600, all right, for nosebleed seats for the World Cup, paying $2,500 to fly to Qatar.
Holy shit!
All to be told you can't drink beer
2 days before,
right? That's $3,000.
I mean, what's their search process like? Because I could come up with some kind of like a beer gut, a strap-on beer gut that actually is full of beer.
Yes,
and then just have like a straw, like a little straw that I pull out and drink beer out of my beer gut. I mean,
Brilliant.
I feel like there is
never underestimate the ingenuity of a man who likes
a
his
person
beer.
that was told he
Yes.
can't drink beer.
Yes.
But when you're only given 2 days, maybe
Right?
that was the whole plot.
That could
was,
be, yes.
Let's wait 2 days before, then we cut down on the ingenuity of beer drinkers from sneaking beer into our stands. So I guess let's get into the human rights and human rights abuses and all that controversy shit. Besides the main one, which is the lack of beer drinking. Because according to Forbes, Qatar World Cup comes with human rights abuses and controversies. Would you have guessed?
Yes.
You would have guessed. Okay, good. When Qatar won the bid to host 2020 FIFA World Cup all the way back in 2010. Now, why is the process so far out? I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I guess they got to give them time to build. They were supposed to build like 12 stadiums. They only got 8 built. So
12 stadiums?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. It's a big competition, but the fact that they only got 8, they should have had a backup plan in Australia and been like, sorry, you didn't fulfill your obligations. So
yeah,
we're out.
absolutely.
It says when Qatar won the bid back in 2010, it was clear the tiny nation was trying to achieve. Hosting arguably the biggest sporting event in the world. Again, that's why America is the greatest, because soccer is not the best sport in America. That's why America is the greatest.
Absolutely.
That specific reason right there.
Yes.
Hosting arguably the biggest sporting event in the world would put them on the map, show off their culture and oil-fueled riches, while simultaneously making their authoritarian and repressive regime come off as a model government. Sounds kind of like Japan, or not Japan. China. Same thing.
I was going to say, but isn't that what world media does?
Yeah,
right?
Obviously. Well, it says there's nothing novel in this approach. Sports washing is nothing new for FIFA. Apparently, Benito Mussolini hosted the World Cup in 1934. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It's almost like these major sporting corporations go to the shittiest places and they're like, we're going to have it here. It's all maybe, this is kind of my theory on it. Maybe it's because that's what gets people talking more about it, because nobody's just talking about soccer.
Right.
But everybody here is like us talking about all the shit around it. It's like, how many hashtags of World Cup out there, not because of soccer, but because of everything else.
Yeah,
It's like
you have World Cup in America. That's just boring.
Yeah.
Right?
So like let's have Hitler host the World Cup because everybody's going to talk about that and
Right?
everybody's going to talk about the World Cup
as they did the Olympics.
Yes. Benito Mussolini hosted the 1934 World Cup in an attempt to showcase the merits of fascist Italy to the world. While in 1978, the tournament was a tool to garner legitimacy for the military junta in Argentina. Now, can we put it out of the question that maybe the FIFA organization just likes authoritarianism?
That's kind of what I gather.
Like, to be like, well, they're just overlooking this. Well, maybe they just like that model there. Kind of like the WEF likes the Chinese model. That's why they're always pushing China. Maybe they only go to these authoritarian regimes because they're like, you know what? We kind of like that.
Yeah. We want to showcase this because that's how we think the world should be.
Where's FIFA based out of?
I think Switzerland.
Well, that's hard to believe that they would support authoritarian regimes then, because I don't think Switzerland's on the top list of authoritarianism. Last I checked, anyway.
Let's see here.
So I'll keep reading while you look. It says in the same ceremony that gave Qatar the rights to 2022, another autocrat of questionable morality won the rights to the 2018 event for his country.
Yeah, Zurich.
Yes, Switzerland.
Yes. So yes,
a lot of shitty things happen in Switzerland
apparently,
too.
Yes.
Like, is it what is it? The Large Hadron Collider, isn't that in Switzerland?
Yeah, I believe it is too.
I mean, they're part of the end of the world.
Yeah.
So, no surprise. So it says in the same ceremony that gave Qatar the rights in 2022, another autocrat of questionable morality won the rights in 2018 for his country. It doesn't say which one won in 2018. Where was the World Cup? You're my fact finder, because Forbes doesn't want to put out the effort of telling us who this is. Maybe it's like Donald Trump. We just don't speak the name. The country we don't speak of. It says FIFA clearly has no problems getting into bed with authoritarian regimes. Maybe the president of FIFA is an authoritarian.
Russia.
It was Russia, so it is. It is the country we don't speak of.
Yep.
Good God. And does it do any good? Like, side tangent. Like, we got Donald Trump, the name we don't speak of. They don't even call him the president. They call him like my predecessor or does it do any good to just not utter the name of the country of Russia?
Yeah.
Another questionable morality autocrat country that we're not going to speak of here. It's like, what
rhymes
what are
with
they doing?
Russia.
I get that they're trying to prove a point that we don't sanction this at all. But it's like,
but you had the fucking World Cup there, so somebody sanctioned it.
And I'm guessing you covered the World Cup there too.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing a lot of players from your country played in the World Cup.
Yes.
However, with just days left for the quadrennial, that's a big word for every 4 years, showpiece, there are serious doubts as to the effectiveness of the washing part of Qatar's sport washing strategy. If they hoped the World Cup would cast them in a positive light, they could not have been more wrong. Mere hours after winning the bid, the discussion turned to corruption within FIFA and who Qatar had to bribe for the right to host the cup. Then, as the tournament drew near, attention focused on Qatar's questionable human rights record, their treatment of migrant workers, and their institutionalization of homophobia. Instead of washing themselves clean, Qatar's ruling regime was coming off looking dirtier than ever. The outrage over these issues intensified in the run-up to the World Cup. Now, nobody gave two shits about Qatar's human rights issues before this. Right. And then, like, weeks ahead of time, people are just like, we should be outraged by this country. It's like, we only care about them when they are putting on a major sport event. Every other year, it's fine. We're not even going to talk about it. But now, how dare us host a sporting event there? Yeah. I mean, we're still going to host it there, but how dare us? And we're still going to watch it, but how dare us? Right. And we're still going to probably buy the products that are sold by the sponsors that are supporting it, but how dare us?
I mean, could they have been like, hey, we got to sweep this human rights thing or human rights thing under the carpet. what's the best thing to do? Be like, hey, why don't we catapult all the homosexuals into the ocean, and then nobody will see them.
Sounds like something China would do.
Right?
Now, that being said, though, the fact that nobody pays attention to those, and now they are paying attention, maybe this
Says
is a win.
something.
Maybe this
Right.
is a win for it. Maybe
Right.
now they're going to have to be like, you guys really should address your human
Yeah.
rights abuse issues here. And we're gonna hold you to it this time because we
Right.
host the World Cup. But in reality, we all know that as soon as the World Cup's
Yeah.
over, we're gonna forget about human
Right.
rights abuses in
Because do
Qatar.
you really feel like Al Jazeera, who is the primary coverage of this, think they're doing any like little spotlight pieces? You know how NBC does with the Olympics
Right,
when they're
yeah.
like talking about like, you know, they're fluffing up the Russians and Chinese. You know, you think they're like being like, you know, yeah, they are pretty horrendous with homosexuals and they really need to change them. No, they're not talking about
You
it.
don't think so?
No.
Probably not.
I doubt it because it's Al Jazeera.
Right.
Right. I mean, their primary viewing ship is countries that support those policies.
You're right.
Right.
So it says the outrage over these issues intensified in the run-up to the World Cup. Danish apparel maker Hummel announced that they would be featuring a faded logo on the Denmark national team to protest human rights violations in Qatar. How brave of you. We're
Right.
going to fade our logo.
Yeah.
So that way, everybody who sees this
Yeah.
will just think we forgot to use Tide extra color protection.
Right. Right.
Like
But
who's
we'll
gonna
know.
look?
We'll know.
Who's gonna look at a faded logo and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's for their
Yeah,
human. That's
brave.
protesting
That is
their human
brave.
rights abuses."
Yeah.
It's like we're still gonna go, and we're still going to play, but we are gonna wear faded logos.
America should have done a faded Bud Light symbol. in their-
Yes, they should have. It says captains of multiple teams, including Harry Kane of England, announced their decision to wear rainbow-colored armbands to protest the Qatari treatment of the LGBTQ community. So we're going to get into that a little deeper. So a lot of different countries, their team captains, they have to wear armbands, team captain armbands, and they were going to wear these rainbow ones that stood for like one love or something like.
Right.
Basically in support of the LGBTQ plus community because that's, as we mentioned, illegal there in Qatar. Now, my question, and we'll get into this more, should we make a huge fucking deal about it being illegal there? Minus the execution part, just like, should that be our focus of this? Like, should we care that much that another country? Because not too long ago, it was not illegal, but it wasn't legal, I guess. So I guess it was illegal to marry here in the United States. But we still were having all kinds of sporting
Yeah.
events here in the United States, and nobody was
Right.
protesting us.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it goes hand in hand with, I mean, the treatment of women over there.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, do you highlight that?
I mean, I don't like. I have a hard time wrapping my head around highlighting cultural differences. I mean, again, when it comes to like human rights abuses, like beating women, or I don't know, there's human rights abuses, then human rights issues, and I don't know where I stand on this. When it's another culture in another country, to be like, well, we will come play sports there, but we don't like what you're doing. It's like, well, that's fine that you don't like what you're doing. And if you don't like it, don't have the sport there, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, exactly. And any country that is theocratic or partially theocratic is most likely going to have policies that are against certain lifestyles.
I mean, Britain drinks warm beer. Should we not have sporting events in Britain? Because I don't agree with that.
No.
We are really downplaying the whole human rights issue here. I just don't know where I stand on like the whole outrage by like cultural laws. And again, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, because like you said, I mean, it's the religion, but the religion is so deeply entwined with their culture and their politics. I mean, how can you? It's not like the United States, right?
It says a German minister openly questioned whether Qatar should even host the tournament because of their stance on all these human rights issues. It says the Australian football team released a video condemning human rights abuses in the Gulf nation. Now, it'd be funny if they're like, we are banning all Australians from entering the country of Qatar now.
Yeah,
It's just like,
right, yeah.
Says the city of Barcelona announced that there would be no public screenings of the World Cup matches. This is Barcelona, Spain.
That's
is not
insane.
Not publicly screening the World Cup match.
Wow, that's
That's
huge.
pretty huge.
Yeah.
Again, the Spanish countries are the soccer countries. I'm pretty sure the word football came from Spain. So
Yes, football.
football. Fans at Borussia Dortmund games held up banners calling for a boycott of the tournament. Every day has seemed to bring new protests against Qatar's ruling regime. The Qataris responded with a poorly thought out PR drive of their own, attempting to portray the attacks on them as attacks on Arabs as a whole. This did little to take the focus away from their failings. I don't think that's a PR thing. I think in their eyes, if they feel that their religion, this is so hardlined in their religion that if you attack that, you are attacking their religion. It's not like, well, we're going to come up with this excuse that you're attacking our religion. No, to them, you are fucking attacking their religion.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
they're not like, you can't shame them like you can Christians in America, right? With them, this is a hardline stance. No, it's a no-go. So yeah, they're like, no, you're attacking our religion, you're attacking our God, you're attacking our culture.
That's not even giving them a free pass or anything. That's me saying, no, they're not coming up with a PR stunt to say that and making an excuse. No, to them, that is literally what you're doing. You are attacking their religion. That's why a bunch of supposedly, and this is like a bunch of Muslims attacked that magazine publication place,
Charlie Hebdo.
Yeah, because they were making fun of Allah, and it's not like, well, they made this excuse that that was deeply offensive to them, to their culture, to their religion. So they thought that they saw it as justify to like mass murder. That's how deeply ingrained in their religion this is. So it's not a PR stunt. It is just ingrained in them that you are attacking our religion by making these attacks on our regulations against homosexuality, against whatever women's rights and stuff like that. So not an excuse for them to be the way they are, but that is their culture. So,
but I think that mindset is so foreign to people in the West.
Oh yeah,
because it's like they can't imagine. You may criticize the evangelicals in America, but I mean they got nothing on.
We spent the last 100 years like just ripping out any form of like conservativeness from our culture.
Yeah.
Some things are good, some things are terrible that we got rid of, but so in the West, I mean, there's been a push to tear away as much of that hard stance, religious stance or conservative stance that we don't have any fucking clue to understand how somebody could be so hard held to their religion.
Right.
I mean, look at like the Church of England, what several hundred years ago, they would have had the same stance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the fucking Crusades, we were killing people because they didn't believe our religion. So I mean, it's not specific to the Muslim culture. It's specific to any hardline religious culture. It's just we are not a hardline religious culture anymore.
But in seeing how like the Islamic faith is one of the reasons why Thomas Jefferson wrote the letter to the church, telling them about the separation of church and state.
Really?
Yeah, because he saw what a hardline religious stance in government would do to a country.
Well, the Church of England was a class example too. I mean, they cut off people's heads and stuff for being apostates and shit. So I mean, it's not just native to the Muslim culture by any stretch.
No, not at all. I mean, you could look at, say the Westboro Baptist Church.
Right. Yeah,
right?
Sure. So it goes on. It says the tragedy, however, remains that between superficial protests mounted by governments and teams and the counter PR drives launched by Qatar, the problems continue to go unaddressed, notably the numerous migrant workers who died constructing World Cup stadiums. A number of international media outlets tracked down families of workers from Asia and Africa. In all their stories, there was one overarching theme. No compensation had been paid to the family. So, I mean, there's thousands of migrant workers that were hauled in to build up these stadiums. Thousands of them died. I think there was like upwards of like 2 million that were brought in to do
Holy
this.
shit.
Thousands of them died just because
Wow.
of poor work conditions and,
I'm
and all
sure.
this stuff
Yeah.
and hot. I mean, it's
They don't have unions. Right.
surprisingly,
And
it's
a
really
fucking
hot in the desert.
right?
Yeah, and they're
Who would
building.
have thought?
They're building it in the middle of the summertime
Right.
in harsh working conditions,
Yeah.
and
like,
so
we really can't waste water on you. You're
Yeah.
not a citizen.
yeah, we're saving the water for the tournaments.
Yeah. Right.
We're watering the grass.
Yeah,
There's
right.
there's not
We
enough
gotta
water
have grass for the soccer game, so we
Yes.
can't really give you anything to drink.
Says while the kind of superficial protests and symbolic gestures do focus attention on the issues, they do little in terms of solving them. And that again, like what does wearing a freaking rainbow armband actually do in that situation?
A fade it. Armband.
Well, no, the armbands were rainbow. The logo that the team logo was faded.
All right.
So even more obscure.
Right.
Like what are you accomplishing here?
Yeah.
And again, is this? I get that the World Cup is the biggest sport event in the world, but if you have such big, massive issues with the human rights abuse, it's the same thing we said in China. Why the fuck are we participating in it?
Yeah.
Why are we allowing Qatar?
Right.
Because it's not like these human rights abuses came out after they won the bid.
Right.
Why did nobody like throw a bitch fit in
Yeah.
2010 and be like, no, we're not going to have it there because of all the human rights abuses?
So Barcelona is not doing public screenings, but is there a Spain team playing?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Spain is playing soccer. It says the protesters get their brownie points while Qatar's ruling regime pays their PR agencies a small fortune to deflect criticism. Caught in the middle are the families of deceased workers who suffer in silence. So a lot of
fuck yeah, they are. They just kicked Costa Rica's ass.
yeah, I'm telling you, Spain is not holding out of the
No.
World Cup.
No.
Nobody's holding out on the World Cup because it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Right.
And it's like the same with the Olympics. Remember we talked about, we had a diplomatic boycott where our politicians didn't show up, but we did send our sports teams there because God forbid we don't show up to the Olympics. That might make us look weak.
Right.
It's all
It's
all
it's all posturing.
It is. I haven't even heard that there's been any diplomatic boycotting of the World Cup this year either. So it's probably less of a concern to us than the Olympics were. So it's again, nobody in the United States is watching soccer. I don't know. Do you know too many? Do you have any friends that are watching the World Cup that
Not
have
in this
posted?
country.
No,
that I'm aware of. No.
So let's talk about the armband. Because, like I said, all these several team captains came out for this. It's the One Love armband. That's what it's called. This support rainbow armband that all the teams are going to wear in solidarity or in support of the LGBTQ plus community. FIFA, obviously, they're like, yeah, that's a good idea because we support LGBT. We support everybody. No, FIFA's like, no, you're not wearing that. FIFA threatened them to the point where, again, don't know my soccer. I do know there's red cards and yellow cards and shit, and it's some kind of warning. And if you get too many of yellow cards equals a red, it's kind of like playing Uno, I think. Get too many yellow cards, it equals a red card, and red cards you don't want.
Right.
And I think players get kicked off, don't they? Okay, you would know because you played. So FIFA has threatened on-field punishment for players that wear these armbands. They it says FIFA's threat of on-field punishment for players forced World Cup teams to back down on Monday and abandon an anti-discrimination campaign aimed at host nation Qatar. The captains of 7 European nations won't wear armbands supporting One Love campaign in games after FIFA said the players would be shown yellow cards. So anybody that showed up wearing any team captain wearing an armband would get a yellow card right off the gate, out of the gate.
So, which shows you exactly how important this issue is to them.
Exactly.
Exactly. Fuck, a yellow card?
What is more important to you? Human rights abuses or a warning?
Yes. Yeah.
It says the decision came 3 days after beer sales at stadiums was suddenly banned under pressure from Qatari government, and 2 days after FIFA president Gianni Infantino delivered an extraordinary tirade defending the host nation's human rights record. It says, as national federations, we can't put our players in a position where they could face sporting sanctions, including bookings. So that there you have it.
Yes.
Now you know what's really important to these people. It's kind of like the equivalent of putting the "I support whatever cause" behind your Facebook banner.
Right.
Like, I stand with Ukraine, or you remember when everybody like put black after the Black Lives Matter stuff, they just made their profile picture as just black, and everybody's like, I don't even know what this is. And so for days on end, you just scroll through Facebook and all you'd see was black squares because they're just like, so-and-so updated their profile pic. And it's just like, tired of seeing freaking black squares. You're doing nothing. You're just saying, I stand with it. It's basically the equivalent of saying thoughts and prayers to whatever cause.
Right.
When it comes to as a football team, we can't put our players in such a dire position of getting a sanction,
right,
or a yellow card, or a warning. I mean, that would be terrible.
Right.
So our human rights activism goes only to the point of where it puts our play time in jeopardy. That's where it stops there.
Right.
At that point, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. Right. Yeah, just fuck the armbands.
Right. It's not really going to change anything anyways, right? So
exactly. So why are you doing it? It's just a freaking virtue signal.
It is.
You know, it's only a virtue signal when the teams are like, okay, we got threatened.
Right.
A yellow card. It wasn't even a red card.
Nobody has the actual balls to stand up and be like, fine, kick me out.
Yeah,
this is more important.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right? It was like, where are the team captains that's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like when it came to vaccines,
right,
a couple of years ago, you had sports players that were like, no, I'm not going to do it. And they're like, well, you're not going to go play such and such event in Canada. It's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to sit out then.
Right, yeah.
And how many players like sat out because of that?
Yeah.
When it comes to this, they're like, we stand with the LGBT community. And they're like, well, you're going to have to sit out. And it's like, we stand a little less.
We stand like behind them.
We still stand with them, but I really want to play
we're kind of more over there.
Yes.
But we're still standing with them.
Says the climb down after threats from FIFA came hours before England's Harry Kane, the Netherlands' Virgil van Dijk, and Wales' Gareth Bale were due to wear armbands in Monday's games. The captains of Belgium, Switzerland, Germany, and Denmark had also pledged to wear armbands in the coming days. Surprised the U.S. wasn't involved in this either. Our number one priority at the World Cup is to win games. There you have it.
Yep.
Number one priority is win.
Yep.
The rest we kind of care about, but not as much as winning.
Exactly.
Said the Dutch Soccer Federation in a separate statement. Then you don't want captains to start the match with a yellow card. So again, we see what's important.
Yeah.
Human rights, winning games.
Yeah.
Well, we like human rights, but we like winning games, and we have less a chance of winning games if we stand hard on the human rights. So maybe we can back up. Can you get us where'd they get those faded logos from? Can we get those?
Can we get some faded ones? And that way we know.
Says Monday's decision shows the political situation surrounding the first World Cup in the Middle East, even after Infantino asked all 32 nations to keep politics off the soccer field. Yeah, I mean, how's that working out for them?
Right.
Since being awarded the World Cup in 2010, Qatar has faced years of criticism regarding its treatment of low-paid migrant workers, as well as its criminalization of gay and lesbian sex. FIFA raised the prospect of yellow cards on Sunday during a testy meeting with European soccer federations, including the 7 teams that pledged to wear armbands. The One Love campaign was started in the Netherlands, and its symbol is a heart-shaped multicolored logo aimed at promoting inclusion and diversity in soccer and society. However, the European plans were in clear breach of World Cup regulations and FIFA general rules on team equipment at games. Apparently, in competitions for FIFA, the captain has to wear a FIFA-provided armband. So that was the big deal.
No.
So I still see it kind of as FIFA kind of caving to Qatar, though, because of the $880 million.
Yes.
Maybe Al Jazeera is just like, if you allow this, it's kind of looks bad. So we're going to cut back on that $100 million. I feel like it's more than just rules are rules, guys.
Right.
Rules are rules.
Yeah. Our hands are tied.
Do you know why? Do you know why? Because they did come to, if rules are rules, then they wouldn't come to any sort of a compromise. And they did come to a compromise. FIFA offered a compromise saying captains of all 32 teams will have the opportunity to wear armbands with the slogan, no discrimination on their armbands. So that's it's just an armband. It just says no discrimination, no rainbows,
which is
no,
about as generic as you can get.
Yes. It's like Dwight Schrute when he made the birthday banner and it just says like it's your birthday or something with like half blown up balloons.
Yeah.
Again, if rules were rules, then they wanted to come up with this compromise.
Yeah.
It's just they are being pansies to Qatar. They're rolling over and cowering to Qatar because
money talks.
Yeah, money talks. Otherwise they wanted to come up with this no discrimination armband because that's not the official armband, I don't think of.
No.
If it was, because it says they have the opportunity. It's not saying everybody's going to wear these armbands. It's saying if you want, you can wear these armbands, which are FIFA approved, but it's still not the official armband.
Right.
So where's the rules are rules?
Exactly.
It's kind of shitty on both sides. Like, it's shitty that the soccer teams only hold human rights to if it is that hard line of an issue for them, like they're saying, they only hold it to the point where we might get docked in the game.
Right.
Then on the other side, FIFA's like, well, we're only saying no, not because of this or that, but because rules are rules. But we're going to compromise. And
Yeah,
it's
right. But we'll let you wear this one because it doesn't really call shit out.
Right.
It's pretty generic, and it goes both ways because when you're not going to discriminate against Muslim beliefs, and you're kind of saying that they shouldn't discriminate against gays,
right? And yeah, you shouldn't discriminate either.
Yes,
that's what this means. Yeah, they probably told Qatar,
yes,
these armbands actually mean don't discriminate against the Muslim faith.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, okay, we can
we'll allow that, and then they're telling them it's like this, because this you shouldn't discriminate against LGBTQ,
right? So, I don't know anything about FIFA. Like, how much control do they have over their own event? Can't they just turn around and remake the rule? It's like, yeah, we will allow this in this game.
Yeah, I would imagine they have quite a bit, but
or
like you said,
will serve beer at our sporting
event.
I think
they capitulate. I think this guy Giovanni Infantino, I think he's kind of a pussy, and so I think he really bends over for the different countries.
Well, you had read a little bit about him. I told you I don't have time to read that.
Right.
What do you know about this Infantino guy?
Yeah, so let me pull up this article here.
Because I don't know. I don't know anything about FIFA. I didn't know where they were from until like 5 minutes ago when you looked it up. So it just kind of, I don't know. They don't seem to really have a lot of control over. I don't know who retains more power. Is it the country that's hosting, or is it the organization that's putting on the event?
Yeah. So it says in the days before the World Cup began, Qatar had been unusually warm on the eve of. Okay, that's bullshit. Okay. Let's see. Giovanni Infantino, president of football's governing body, FIFA, decided to turn up the temperature even more. Today, I feel Qatari, he told the assembled journalists. Today, I feel Arab. Today, I feel African. Today, I feel gay. Today, I feel disabled. Today, I feel like a migrant worker. I feel like them because I know what it means to be bullied. So began an hour-long diatribe in which Infantino railed against Qatar's critics, accused Europe of hypocrisy, bashed the press, and even took a swipe at the polling industry for failing to gauge the mood of the public.
So basically, he's like, I support all these things, but fuck all of it,
right.
Qatar.
His overriding message to the West was, this World Cup is not for you, it's for everybody else. Some saw it a tin-eared autocrat, others a new spokesman for the global South. The next day, Infantino sat beside Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to watch the tournament's opening fixture between the host nation and Ecuador. There followed a row over rainbow armbands. 8 European teams had planned to wear them to promote inclusion in a country where homosexuality is illegal. FIFA threatened players with punishment on the pitch, and the European eventually backed down. Infantino was born in 1970 in the Swiss town of Brig into a poor family of Italian immigrants. At school, he played football, but at the age of 10, he decided his talents were elsewhere and decided organizing tournaments between children and different countries.
In other words, he sucked at soccer. So he was like, but what I'm really good at is putting together soccer tournaments.
Yes. This, he says, in a short film produced for Qatar Airways about him and the power of football to bring people together. He trained as a lawyer and became part of the cadre of civil servants in Switzerland, and long produced to fill the corridors of FIFA, the International Olympic Committee, and other major sporting bodies.
He's been on all these?
Yes.
Wow. That says a lot.
He joined UFA,
UFA,
the governing body of European football, in 2000, rising to become the Secretary General. In 2015, the world of football was rocked by an FBI investigation, which led to the indictment of several FIFA executives.
But not this guy.
No,
he didn't get indicted.
Well,
obviously,
no, he got a promotion.
Who do you think called the FBI?
Right, exactly. After Blatter's downfall, UFA chief Michael Platini that's not important. After being elected president of FIFA in 2016, he promised to tackle the organization's rotten culture and to give more cash to member federations. On both counts, he has claimed to delivered. FIFA's governance has overhauled as the bidding of future World Cups, and he made bank. For many smaller members who depend on FIFA's money, Infantino's tenure has been a boom. But critics say the old system of patronage has simply evolved rather than gone away. He's a gambler. He's aggressive in gambling, new ideas, but he lacks critical voices around him. He has all his people loyal to him. The Qatar World Cup has been a public relations slog for FIFA. The 12 years since, I can't read that, something secured hosting rights, Qatar, has been filled with questions about treatment of migrant workers, LGBT rights, and logical efforts of hosting the world's biggest sporting event. But while Qatar has Infantino's inheritance from the previous regime, so Infantino did not push for, so the other guy who got kicked out is the one that set up Qatar.
Okay. Yeah, because that was 2010
inherited.
and he didn't get until
2016, yeah. Let's see here.
He's like, I didn't create this, I inherited it.
Yes. His defenders point out that the World Cup is FIFA's only real source of revenue, while engagement from undemocratic regimes is an unavoidable part of global sport.
So it's a necessary
evil.
Yes. Like, obviously, we got to make money somewhere. And there's a lot of money coming from these authoritarian regimes that want to prop up their authoritarian country. So, I mean, do we want FIFA? Do we want soccer to die? Because if we want soccer to die, we could keep it in these democrat countries like the United States, who don't even know what soccer is. They don't even call it football.
Yes.
Or we could keep it alive by pushing it through these authoritarian countries. Now that makes sense.
Some who have worked with Infantino describe him as a demanding personality, where his predecessor would deploy old-fashioned charm. The incumbent only currency is hard work. Blatter describes his successor in 2020 as a megalomaniac on a mission to turn football into a huge money machine. Nowadays, we want a headline, "Everyone is either a hero or a villain," says his former colleague. Reality is sometime in the middle.
So maybe he created this whole drama. The way it sounds, that the former guy saying there's a good guy and a bad guy.
Yeah.
With this guy, there's no like middle ground. There's no. It's very he's very divisive. So maybe well, the way he's like, well, sometimes I feel gay and sometimes I feel disabled and sometimes I feel Arab or whatever. And then all of a sudden he, in the same sentence, he's like, but we got to stop bashing on Qatar. It's like he maybe his whole marketing strategy, like we said early on in the episode, maybe the whole thing is just to get people talking more about soccer. Let's make this as divisive as possible.
Yeah.
So there's more media coverage. I mean,
exactly.
How often do you see media coverage, this much media coverage in the United States about the World Cup?
Absolutely.
Maybe this is this guy's like baby.
Right. Maybe this is kind of like how Trump views it.
Well, this is like the drama side of the WWE.
Right.
Like where they have like the people like getting into bitch fights before and after, or even
drags people in.
Even now in the UFC, you get like the weigh-ins and they're all up in each other's face, yelling at each other and like slamming each other in the media and stuff. And it like you said, pulls people into the fight because the drama leading up to it. It's just like, well, I got to see what this is all about. And it's just like, well, let's get more hashtags, right? Hashtag World Cup, hashtag World Cup Qatar. If we can get people talking about it, then we can get more people
No,
interested in it.
absolutely. That sounds exactly what this guy's strategy is.
All the stuff we've talked
Yeah.
about today, like fuck the human rights, because again,
Yeah.
nobody's cared about Qatar's human rights issues before now.
Fuck the migrant workers.
Nobody's even really talking that much about the migrant workers.
Yeah.
Screw the ban on homosexuality and all this stuff. Until now, it's just like, well, let's have it in Qatar.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's in Qatar. He's like whispering to some like ultra liberal news source. Hey, they ban homosexuality. They even have it so on the books where you can stone them and kill them, and they're like, oh shit, we got to write about that. Or like, why are we having this World Cup over here? And then on this side, they're like, do you know the United States is really pissed off? Would really piss them off is if you don't serve beer, because I mean, they're all about their beer, and they're like, oh, screw that, we're gonna, you know what the United States said about you? They said, fuck your alcohol thing, we're gonna drink all the beer. And they're like, well, we're just gonna ban beer. And they're like, he's just whispering in everybody's ear, and all the media's ear, just getting them all outraged and stuff.
It wouldn't surprise me, man.
Fucking brilliant.
No, absolutely. Check out this last part. This is interesting. Following the bruising experience this World Cup, Infantino's next challenge may will be handling a Saudi bid to host the tournament in 2030. So World Cup is every 8 years.
It's every 4 years.
Is it 4 years? FIFA's new rules require certain human rights standards to be met by prospective hosts. Some European federations have discussed withholding support for Infantino when he faces re-election early next year. But it will make little difference. There are too few Western European votes to have any effect. And besides, Infantino is running unopposed.
Yeah, nobody else wants it. They're like, why would we want to be in charge of soccer?
Right. Yeah, nobody wants that.
So let's move on. We're running out of time. I wanted to get into, because Qatar's not the only ones in the World Cup that have human rights drama going on. Like, a big issue right now is Iran, and it's between the U.S. and Iran. And it's probably that Infantino guy is like, did you hear what the U.S. said about you?
Yeah.
And over there in the U.S., did you hear what Iran said about you? And they're like, oh, shit. Let's talk about this. Apparently, Iran is calling for the U.S. to be thrown out of the World Cup. I mean, would that be that big of a blow to the U.S.? Are they going to lose that much harder if they get thrown out? Is the U.S. even doing anything good in the?
As far as I know, they've had 2 matches and they've tied both of them.
Okay,
0-0 and 1-1.
Who'd they play? Like
England.
Oh, all right then. There you go.
And then they tied the Wales 1-1.
So the United States did a thing, kind of like the fading of the logo, to stand in solidarity or against something. They wanted to make a point, a solid, well-known point. The United States Soccer Federation, in a social media post, photoshopped a logo out of the Iran flag. So there's like the Allah symbol in the middle. They photoshopped that out and just had the stripy flag.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is the point we're trying to prove. Right. We stand against Iran. We're going to Photoshop their flag. Well, I mean, it kind of worked. Iran was like,
they were pissed.
What the fuck? Dude?
Yeah, right.
So now Iran is saying, can we throw them out? Rules are rules again. Says Iranian state media is calling for the U.S. World Cup soccer team to be thrown out of the 2022 tournament in Qatar after it briefly changed the icon of the Iranian flag on social media accounts in support of protests taking place in the country. So if you don't know, Iran has a bunch of protests going on, and it's all based around this female that got murdered because she wasn't wearing her hijab.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of protests. The U.S. has kind of backed it. Iran accuses the U.S. and other Western countries of promoting and like pushing the protests. Right. Go figure. The NAD's probably over there.
Oh, fuck yeah.
They're pushing it. Says the United States Soccer Federation in its social media post over the weekend featured flags of the countries competing in Group B, which includes a match between the U.S. and Iran on Tuesday. In posts, the Iranian flag icon was missing its Islamic Republic emblem and only showed its red, white, and green stripes. Tuesday's match is a crucial one that already has drawn political overtones or undertones, whatever, same thing.
Yeah.
Whoever wins will proceed to the knockout stages. Now what they should have is whoever wins, that political ideology
right,
is now the political whoever wins the World Cup, their political ideology rules is
Wouldn't
what
that
the
be a
world
bitch?
runs now. Yeah. So if the Islamic Republic of Iran wins the World Cup, then we all fall under
Sharia law.
Sharia law. Absolutely. It makes the most sense.
Right.
It says Iranian, because they say like it's a crucial game with political overtones. It's just like, but we're more concerned about the winning of the game. Maybe if we made the political undertones, political overtones, then maybe people would take the shit more seriously.
Right.
Iranian media reacted swiftly with the state media agency Tasnim calling for the U.S. team to be booted from the tournament. Now, is Iran just like monitoring the United States Soccer League's social media to be like, oh, did you see that? I found, look on that little emblem right there of our flag. They took the Islamic Republic logo out of it.
It's trash talk. I mean, you see football teams do it all the time.
Or do you think maybe the president of FIFA
probably
picked up the phone and was like,
kind of leaked it?
Did you see that logo they had? Check out, hey, man, check out the
Can you
U.S.
believe the US
Soccer
did that shit?
Association's webpage right now. Can you believe that? And like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, right.
You know, like we said.
Well, they need to be kicked out. And he's like, well, I'll talk to the board. I can't promise anything, but I agree. They should probably be kicked out.
And he goes over there. He's like, did you hear Iran wants you kicked out?
Can you believe that shit?
I mean, how authoritarian is that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, first they killed a woman for not wearing a hijab,
Right.
and now they want to kick you out of the World Cup.
So how many people do you think are going to be watching this match expecting Iran and US to kick the shit out of each other?
And it's all because it's all the marketing strategy of the president of FIFA.
Yeah. Yep.
It says Iranian media reacted swiftly, calling for the U.S. team to be booted from the tournament. It says by posting a distorted image of the flag of the Islamic Republic of Iran on its official account, the U.S. football team breached FIFA charter. Again, rules are rules. If you want to play that game, rules are rules.
Yep.
Apparently, they should get a 10-game suspension, which would
kick them out
of the tournament. So I'm guessing there's not more than 10 games for the team. Says in a follow-up tweet, it added, the legal advisor of the Iranian Football Federation says the sports association will file a complaint against the U.S. soccer team to FIFA's ethics committee after the U.S. men's national soccer team disrespected the national flag of the Islamic Republic of Iran. We got to say Iran, not Iran,
of course,
because in the next
guy
article
called.
The U.S. Soccer Federation, in a comment to CNN, said it changed the flag for only 24 hours to show support for women fighting in Iran, fighting for basic human rights, but added it always intended to change it back.
But so they only give them 24 hours.
Yeah.
Again, they care so much about it, they'll give them 24 hours.
Well, I don't even think that they were. Well, we were going to change it back.
Yeah, right.
We were going to change it back. Don't worry. It wasn't a permanent thing. No, that they're just like, oh, we don't want to get kicked out again. Like our human rights concerns. The line is drawn at not getting to participate in the World Cup. So, I mean, if it was that big a deal, they'd have been like, fuck you, fix your human rights and we'll fix our logo.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But instead it's like, you're going to kick us out. Let me put that back for you. And we intended to put it back this whole time. It's just, guys, it was just a joke. It was a joke. We were seeing if you'd noticed.
Yeah, right.
Says U.S.-based Iranian activist Alika Laban commented on the U.S. team's move in an Instagram post saying the U.S. took a huge stand. Huge
stand.
This is their huge stand.
For 24 hours.
By taking the Islamic Republic logo off the Iranian flag.
I just watched Princess Bride again this weekend, and I feel like I should be saying, like, I do not think this word means what you think it means.
Yes. Took a huge stand by removing the emblem from the fraudulent Islamic Republic flag that has become, for Iranians, a symbol of torture, suffering, and oppression. This is not our flag. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
3 thank yous.
Yes. Now, I get what the protest is about. I get that no, women should not be being brutally murdered because they didn't wear a headscarf.
Right.
I get that somebody should be doing something about this, but the thing that they should be doing is not photoshopping a flag for 24 hours. That is not a huge stance.
Yeah.
The huge stance is if you have such a hard time with these, maybe they should be like, hey, we're standing out of this Iranian game here. I don't care if we I don't care if we lose the whole tournament. the U.S. really concerned about winning the World Cup anymore? Anyways, now what would be a huge stance? Photoshopping the Islamic Republic part out of the Iranian flag, or intentionally forfeiting the world's largest soccer match.
Right. Yeah.
What's making a bolder statement here? Like, we don't care about sports ball. We care about human issues. And we are here. We didn't even come here we didn't bring our soccer players. We just brought people to wear uniforms and say, fuck your human rights abuses.
Show up on the field with pictures of this girl who got killed, right?
You
and
know,
say,
like the
"Justice for
actual,
what's her face?"
like the actual activists here are doing,
that
like,
are actually putting their lives on the line and getting killed for it.
Now these soccer players are putting their careers on the line
for 4 years
by photoshopping out the flag. Yeah, I don't know. It's all virtue signaling.
It is. Yeah, nobody is actually standing for shit.
No.
Oh, we got a comment. Is it more sexy girls?
Shannon is here. Shannon, we're still here. Bill didn't rage quit and walk out. Bill has not. Why would you rage quit and walk out?
Why? What did Craig do this time?
What did
did I miss?
What did Bill do that he should be rage? Bill, why didn't you rage? What do I got to do to get you to rage quit and walk out? Because I mean, I've been trying really, really hard.
Yeah.
But yes, we are still here. And we are talking soccer. Shannon, do you like soccer? Are you a soccer mom? I feel like you might be a soccer mom. If you are, I apologize. So I don't know. I feel like we're doing so little for such big things that we consider big fucking issues.
Right.
It's just like, it's like George Floyd. George Floyd gets murdered, and that'd be like somebody like scratching the face of Abraham Lincoln off a penny or something like that. It's like, I'm doing this in solidarity for all black people in America. It's just like, one penny, not all the pennies, just one penny. And it's just like, see that? I stand for against black oppression because I scratched the face off this.
Right. Yeah.
When instead we could be doing things that, I don't know, potentially put our careers on the line, our lives on the line. And again, to have the United States come out and just stand there and be like, fuck it, we're not going to play.
Yeah. Right.
And the referee, do they have referees in soccer?
They do. Yes.
Okay. I don't know. It's just a free for all. So I guess somebody's got to throw the yellow flag.
Somebody's got to throw the yellow flag.
So, Shannon says no soccer, baseball and football. There you go.
Obviously, it's football a little
Shannon,
bit more.
You are truly American. Baseball she put first, obviously, but she did
put a football sign.
She said R.I.P. Georgie. I'm guessing, is that George Floyd?
Assuming.
But anyway, soccer team comes out and the referees are like, you got to run. It's like, fuck it, I'm not running. And we're wearing our armbands too.
Right. Yeah.
And our faded logos.
Yes.
And we're drinking a beer on the field.
Fuck yes.
And we're saying, fuck your
That's
human
what
rights.
they should have done. Go out on the field and all take beer and
armbands. And yes.
Yeah.
It'd be like, screw your human rights abuses. We're not playing. And the referee's like, there's a red flag. It's like, I'm out. So they walk out. No, he's like, screw your red flag. I'm going to stand here anyway.
Yeah,
and they're like, another red flag. You're
call
out.
security. And he's like, so?
And there's just this big, and Iran gets all pissed off and they start beating the shit out of them.
Oh, yeah.
And,
but that would be a stand.
That
right
would be a stand.
And that would be a fucking ratings boom because I would not miss another.
No, hell no. And FIFA comes out and like, you guys are banned from not only the World Cup, but also the Olympics, because I kind of co-chair the Olympics too. So United States can't participate in the Olympics now or any other world tournament for history. And the United States is like, well, are we going to fix the human rights abuses? Because that's all I care about.
Right.
But instead we're like,
right.
Oh, we're gonna get a yellow card.
Right. That would earn a fucking USA chant.
Yeah.
In my book.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
the United States would take the center stage for being the central country for opposing human rights abuse right there. But instead we're like, we're gonna scratch the logo off of a flag on a social media
for 24 hours.
And it's the U.S. Soccer Association social media account. Who's looking at that to begin with?
Exactly.
Who's would it come across 5 viewers?
Right.
Shared like 8 times, maybe.
Ooh, that's bold.
Really. So we're running out of time. The last thing with this Iran United States debacle was this article you sent me. It talks about the Iran reporters talking shit to the U.S. team in a World Cup press conference. Because, like I said earlier, it's basically like, you bitch about our human rights and you got all this stuff. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because it says during a press conference ahead of Tuesday's World Cup match between Iran, sorry. This is the article.
You did it too. Racist.
The U.S. Iranians reporters pelted a series of political questions at American team leaders. U.S. head coach Greg Berhalter and Captain Tyler Adams fielded inquiries about the government's relations between the two countries, as well as their personal opinion on the subject in a presser that veered sharply away from routine pre-match discussion. Now, it's an Iranian reporter asking a soccer coach
right
about United States policies their policies towards Iran. It says Berhalter and Adams responded thoughtfully, emphasizing that they were focused on the upcoming match and did not have a hand in decisions made by U.S. soccer officials or the U.S. government. Go figure. The soccer coaches of the U.S. soccer team don't have any hand in U.S. politics.
Or posting.
They said, we support Iran's people and Iran's team. But that being said, we're laser focused on this match, as they are as well, Adams said during a Monday press conference. In a notable exchange, the Iranian journalist from Press TV corrected Adams' pronunciation of Iran. Adams had said Iran rather than Iran before asking him about racism in the U.S. First of all, you say support for the Iranian people, but you are pronouncing our country's name wrong. This sounds like a Karen. Our country is named Iran, not Iran. I like how they just typed it out.
It's very passive.
Our country's named Iran, not Iran. That's what it looks like to me. Our country's name is Iran, not Iran. Please, once and for all, let's get this clear. Again, very, very passive-aggressive response to this. Second of all, are you okay to be representing a country that has so much discrimination against black people in its own borders? Adams immediately apologized for mispronouncing the name and offered his perspective as an African American who grew up in a white family. So he's asking this to a black person.
Right, yeah.
He said there's discrimination everywhere. In the U.S., we're continuing to make progress every day. He says, through education. I think it's super important, like you just educated me now on the pronunciation of your country. It's a process as long as you see progress. That's the most important thing.
Good for him.
At one point, an Iranian journalist asked about social media posts from the U.S. soccer Twitter account that included the edited Iranian flag with the symbol without the symbol of the Islamic Republic. So this is his response. The players and staff knew nothing about what was posted. Sometimes things are out of our control. We believe it's going to be a match in which the results will depend on who puts more effort in, who executes better on the field. And we're not focused on those outside things. And all we can do on our behalf is apologize on behalf of players and staff. So he handled himself rather well.
I think so, yeah.
He didn't go on a tirade or anything like that. So good on him.
Yeah.
They make it sound like this guy because he mispronounced Iran, all these questions. But the guy was like, guys, I'm just here to play soccer.
Right, yeah.
Like, yeah, we have our problems. We're trying to learn. You have your problems.
Yeah.
We don't agree with certain things, but at the end of the day, we're here to play soccer.
And you educated me. I apologize. I'll do better in the future.
Sure.
Thank you for that.
Now, we didn't talk a lot about the human trafficking, but we did talk a bit. And that's another major concern that's not talked about too much because, like I said, there are millions and millions of people being transferred into, there's probably as many people trafficked in to work on the stadium as are residents of Qatar, actually.
Yeah. And it sounds like when there's big sporting events like this, human trafficking is always a concern because I think we talked something similar about Olympics.
Yeah, right. And they always talk about sex trafficking being a big thing. And then the fact checkers come out and they're like, well, actually, no, there was already sex trafficking. And it's not like a sporting event. But not too many people talk about the trafficked immigrant workers brought in to basically kill themselves building this shit up because dollars are what talk here, money talks. So you don't hear too many of the countries coming out and being like, well, you do have your human rights issues, but you also have this major issue with, like, how can we stop these countries from trafficking in migrant workers and basically killing them in the name of profit here for the World Cup? Because FIFA's like, we're making money. That's really what matters. So I said the last thing was the last thing, but I just want to point a couple things out on here. Because this one says at least 1,200 foreign workers have died in Qatar since it was awarded the cup in 2010. This is without a doubt the highest death toll for preparation of a sporting event, with the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics being number 2 with only 60 deaths. So
That's
you got
quite a disparity.
Yeah. Sochi Winter Olympics, 60 deaths being number 2, being barely topped by Qatar with 1,200 worker deaths. And that's the ones that are reported.
Right.
It says the same report predicts at least 4,000 fatalities will take place by opening ceremonies in 2022. So when did this came out in 2018.
Wow.
So in 2018, they were already at 1,200 over the 60 for the 2014 Olympics. And they're predicting at least 4,000 will take place by now.
That's insane.
So apparently, FIFA doesn't like to bring this shit up.
Oh, of course.
Obviously. There's a history of human trafficking here. It says FIFA doesn't like to talk about countries plagued with corruption and bribery scandals like Russia and Qatar, but they dislike talk of labor trafficking even more. In fact, the massive undertaking to develop the first ever Middle East World Cup is a conversation FIFA has been successfully avoiding for years. So they're like, you can have it. Give us your $800 million, but they never ask the question, but how? How is your tiny country going to pull this
How
off?
are you possibly going to build 12 stadiums?
Yeah, it says basically FIFA's stance is exploit all the migrant labor you want, guys, but at least be above board about it. Because they're saying all this outrage about the possible bribery, but nobody's outraged about the human trafficking. It's like, at least let us be transparent about it, but you can exploit the labor and kill off the labor all you want, but at least let us know where the money's coming from. Says FIFA has gotten away with scandals and permitting human trafficking in host countries for decades, all to the tune of 3.4 billion people watching in 2018 and billions of dollars in revenue.
Holy shit.
Here's what they did do, though. This is my favorite part, because they talk about labor camps in Qatar. Basically, these people live in labor camps outside, away from all the population, so nobody sees all the shitty
out in the desert.
Yeah. But at the very bottom, it says, where to go? It says FIFA isn't completely heartless, because again, it's really fucking hot there. It says FIFA President Infantino announced in 2018 that FIFA moved the World Cup dates back months, agreeing with Qatar that the summer heat would be too unsafe for players and fans.
Wow, that's beautiful.
But that leaves the working conditions even hotter, because they could have been working through the spring for a summertime World Cup, but instead they're like, let's push this back because we don't want the fans to get hot. So now the workers are busting their ass through the heat of the summer. So they aren't completely heartless, but they don't give two shits about the workers. So
it's me here.
Yeah. So
it's beautiful.
These millions of people that are coming and working, they're not getting paid a decent wage. They're probably getting promised things in this rich country.
Yeah.
And they're getting exploited. So it says once companies, I saw one article that said once the government kind of cracks down on this company for exploiting workers, it's like they kick them out, but those workers get transferred to another company without any
company
question
that comes back in.
Yeah, so no questions asked. It's like the worker is still being exploited just for a different company.
Can you imagine working and they're like, oh, we're closing this company down because of their harsh work, and they're, oh, thank God, but we're transferring you over to these guys, and you guys need to finish this.
Yes. Again, this is the shit that FIFA doesn't care to talk about.
Right.
They want to point out. They want to make all the noise to get us talking about things, but they don't want to address the fact that FIFA exists on the backs of basic slave labor. The World Cup, which is, like you had pointed out, basically the only money that comes through the soccer federation. It's built on the backs of human trafficking,
Yeah.
like labor,
Yeah.
forced labor,
and bribes.
Yeah.
And
So-
and it sounds like the last administration got kicked out because of shady shit, but
Sure.
this administration is doing just as shady shit, just in a different
Just
way.
harder.
Yeah, right, right.
And he's making a lot more noise of it, and he likes to get people like at each other's throats to make people talk more about soccer, because I mean we got to get people talking about soccer,
Right, because nobody actually wants to watch the sport.
I'm just waiting till soccer does legitimately become like WWE, where we
Right.
have like the dramatized like you got like the president of Iran is like throwing a chair at like the National Soccer Association web designer's face.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck you, man. Throw a chair at, and
the U.S. coach goes, "Let me tell you something, brother."
Yes, exactly that. Oh, what do you think of all this noise?
I think it's stupid.
I felt since everybody else was talking about soccer, we had to talk about soccer.
Well, I definitely feel like it needs to be talked about. I mean, if not the sport, all the shadiness that goes into the world's biggest sport, right? I mean, all the things that people don't want to see with soccer.
Right.
It's there, right? And it should be seen.
Now, are you one of those people that's like just chill out and just play sports? We're here to watch sports. Or do you think there's some merit to calling out these countries
I
for
think
the
there's
shit?
merit. I think you're putting that country in center stage. So by doing that,
I mean, you are
they
putting a
should be under the
spotlight on them,
Yeah,
but you're
absolutely.
also giving them a fuck ton of money too to host this
right.
thing.
And yeah, people are coming in by the shit ton to watch this.
Yeah,
right.
so-
So that it's boosting their tourism up.
So is it now weigh out things here? Is it we've got on one hand, we are shining the spotlight on the atrocities in Qatar that they're calling out, but on the other hand, we're also like tripling their economy.
Right.
So I mean,
And I think as we just talked about, that all the spotlight shit is just virtue signaling.
Now,
Nobody actually gives a shit.
here's what I mean, they announce these, they vote on this
Right.
12 years ago. Now, what they should have said is, you know, I see that you want this thing to kind of boost and like become a better country, but you have this, and this wrong. You've got, I would give them probably 10 of those years and
Right.
wait for them to completely build the fucking stadiums and shit, and then be
Yeah.
like, well, sorry, and already have the backup plan and already tell Australia, you know, we're actually going to host this here.
Right.
After 6 years, be like, how fast can you get your stadiums up? And they're like, well, we got these old Olympic stadiums that we can repurpose for soccer stadiums. And they're like, get on it. And then wait till like, maybe do what they did to Budweiser and wait till like
2 days
a month before or like 6 months before and be like, I realize you put all this money into this, but we gave you these stipulations here.
Yeah.
And Australia's already, I mean, they already have their stadium set up. We didn't tell you that, but they do. So sorry, not sorry. We're not having it here. Fuck
Right.
you guys. You didn't hold up your end of the deal.
Yeah.
And maybe that, because then the spotlight would be on them, but then they wouldn't get the economic benefit of
Right.
hosting it there. But they instead they just drained a bunch of money
Right.
into building these stadiums that are going to be virtually for nothing. It's like,
Yeah.
well, better luck next time.
Yeah.
But the odds of you winning the vote next time aren't as good because
Right.
you didn't hold up your end of the deal. So maybe do something like that where it's just like, you know what, screw you. You didn't put out the effort. So and I don't want it to be like there's gotta be some hard evidence that you've made some serious policy changes and stuff.
Right.
Not like, well, for the next 2 years, we're putting a hold on the stoning of the homosexuals. And then
Until
when
2025.
we see them like shipping them across the border into Saudi Arabia and stoning them
stoning 'em
there.
there.
Yeah. No, there's got to be some hard proof that this is some like permanent changes that you've made to your human rights issues here. Otherwise, I'd say, you know, if we have a problem with it and FIFA's not willing to deal with it like that, or by making a hard stand saying no, then countries need to start freaking stepping back from those things. I saw more posts, more articles saying, no, we should not boycott because of human rights issues, because these athletes have trained for this and this and this, and because the spotlight is now on this and this and this. It's like, no, if enough countries boycotted it,
Yeah.
the World Cup makes jack shit.
Right.
And maybe folds. It's like maybe they have to make some kind of change themselves.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I heard that same argument with the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
But did you know how much they sacrifice? It's
but what's more important?
Right,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
If it is important to you, as you say, then that's the sacrifice you would make.
Exactly.
Like you have people over there that are protesting and making legit like life sacrifices protesting. And we're over here like saying, well, I'm just going to fade out my logo and call that good.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you don't have any sort you don't have a hard stance against this at all. You just want to make it look like we're doing something about it. We're making we're making a bold statement here.
Yeah.
The boldest statement we could have made by wearing an armband, by changing my background profile to I stand in solidarity with Iranian
It's
women.
Just surface gestures.
It is. That's all it is.
Right.
We are well over our time. I did not think I'd be able to talk for 2.5 hours about soccer.
Don't give us enough credit.
But we did. We absolutely did. I have not changed my stance on how I feel about soccer. I've lessened my liking for the World Cup
I was
even
gonna say,
more.
If anything, it's given me an even more negative. And now this being somebody who likes football, and I'm sure there's tons of shady shit with football that
all pro sports do, but it's not at that level because it's not
international
world level.
Right.
I am out of time. It's time to go. If you hate soccer as much as us, let us know. If you love soccer, we don't care.
Let us know.
Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy whatever it is about this cold weather that you can.
It's Christmas season.
It is Christmas season. And make sure you check out on December 19th, Monday, December 19th, the Christmas extravaganza, which is the 3rd annual Christmas extravaganza.
You told me it was Monday. I would have been here on Sunday.
Well, you'll be here for the weekend
that's
wrap
true. I'll
up
be
anyway.
both of them.
This is the biggest. This is so much bigger than the World Cup, and you do not want to miss it. And we promise you minimal human rights abuses.
Yes.
I mean, the only person we might abuse is Remzo, but he deserves it.
Right. And he's expecting
Of course, I picked the only brown guy. God damn it. All right. Minimal human rights abuses in our Christmas extravaganza.
But there will be liquor.
There will be, and we will not cut that short.
No.
2 days before. Make sure you show up for that on December 19th. It's going to be a blast. Check us out all over social media. Share us far and wide across the interwebs because that's how we get our name out there, and that's how we can do bigger and better things and reach out to more and more people, probably more than the 8 people that are following the National Soccer Association. So make sure you check that out. Share it, because we want to be bigger than the National Soccer Association, which is not very big. So we have small goals. We'll catch you next time. Make sure you show up for Tuesday and Thursday for the 2 Scoops early morning show, whatever we call that thing, with me and my brother. Dan Smots of The System Is Down. Show up for the weekend wrap up, which is usually on Sunday, 7-ish, somewhere in there. Or just be back here next Monday night.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say or, I should say and. Because you got to do all of them.
Yeah, do both.
Next Monday night, same time, same channel, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Before I go, I just want to say, Qatar, this course is for you. Have a great rest of your week. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back, because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.